Monday morning on 104.5, The Zone begins right now. And for the penultimate time in the 2024 season, it is a Tennessee Titans Reaction Monday. 20-13, they fall in Duval. But was yesterday overall even a bad day for the Tennessee Titans? We'll discuss, because a guy in New York helped you get a top 5 and right now a top 2 draft pick. 615-737-1045 is our number. We've got Titans and Jags discussion, your calls. Tennessee losing some stars to the transfer portal. Should we be worried? We'll talk about that as well this morning. Streaming the show live on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Ramon Foster, Robert Walsh, Will Bowling, Kayla Anderson with the morning off. It is Monday, December the 30th. And the Titans lose again. Good morning, gentlemen. How are we doing?
We're good. Well, good morning, man. How are you? How was your weekend? Solid? Okay.
It was a lot better than having to stand in the rain in the worst city in the NFL and watch 2 of the worst teams of the NFL play yesterday. But you know what? We're living right.
Perspective, right? I got a free ticket to a game.
Absolutely right.
Perspective. I will say, man, it was wet and wild yesterday on that football field, man. Just the overall crowd atmosphere wasn't there until late. Of course, with the weather and both teams being bad and both teams knowing each other, there was a lot that played into yesterday. I was very prepared for a guy that's really, not really into like, hey, how do you go to a game? What do I take? Yesterday, I must say, I took like some waterproof pants, some water-resistant pants. All right, I had those on, basically some Nike running pants. I had those on. I had some leather shoes on. And I had my rain jacket, and I did not leave it at the stadium this time, Will. I must say.
That's great.
Did not leave it at the stadium. But after the game, I had a change of socks and a change of shoes, too. So I was really prepared this time around. I must also add to the fact, though, most of the hard rain had left by the time I went to the field. It was coming down pretty good for the most part throughout the course of the first half. But overall, there was a huge monsoon that came right during warm-ups.
Yep.
And I was glad that we had pregame right there. Okay.
So what Ramon wants you to do is applaud him for looking at the weather app and wearing the right clothes yesterday.
That's all I'm saying.
Summation of his first 2 minutes of the show.
That's all I'm saying. And being real with you, I've lucked up, and I can admit I've lucked up since doing sidelines for Titans Radio. I have been lucky because all the cold weather cities we've gone to earlier in the season. Chicago, right? Early in the season this year. And then last year was preseason. And then, of course, having Detroit and Detroit's indoor.
Yeah.
And Buffalo this year was pleasant. And Washington was pleasant. Like, I had my peak coat
The weather
on.
was pleasant.
Yeah, the
I don't know if any of those games were pleasant, but the 68 degrees in Ford Field might have felt pleasant, but then the game happened.
But the Commanders game was not pleasant to watch.
No, it was not.
Yes. Do we have to go to that dark space every single time?
We do.
We do.
We do. We are the ones leading the therapy session this morning for the first 4 hours of the day on this radio station. It is literally what we get paid to do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But I miss most of the rain, hard rain. And what we had yesterday was doable. I said to Mike Keefe in one of the updates he was asking me about, it was like one of those play outside in the rain days as a kid. And, it's, hey, we're just outside having a good time. You don't really think about the weather. So it was good. Jacksonville threw the ball well early. I think we'll speak about it here in a while, but I think they found a candy bar yesterday, too. There was some sweet tooths that had to be satisfied on their defense. On the Titans defense yesterday. And Jacksonville took so good of a care of it, man. But other than that, Will, excitement at the end. Jacksonville is Jacksonville. I see what y'all say. Why y'all say what you say about Jacksonville, though? I do now.
What's that?
Because I've been there, and we'll usually go to I think it was like a resort, Sawgrass or something like that.
Yeah, Amelia Island is a popular place where visiting teams stay down there as well. About an hour away.
So we were out there, and you're trying to decide on if you want to go downtown to eat dinner. That is by far one of the most spaced out cities that I've ever been in. It took us 40 minutes to get to where we were going, another 35 minutes to get to the stadium. And I've had some friends that live in Jacksonville. I don't know why.
Yeah, on purpose?
Yes, on purpose. It's weird, okay? And they were just saying going anywhere in the city is like a 30-minute drive. And I see that now. But not just that. I don't know. They got to get it a little bit more developed. For an NFL city, you expect a little bit more out of Jacksonville.
It's the largest city in America in terms of square miles of like metropolitan area.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. But
Interesting.
couldn't get the dub yesterday, man. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
20-13, the final for Jacksonville. You mentioned the Jags may have found their candy bar.
Yeah.
For those unfamiliar to this show and what that means, that is how Ramon, during his playing career, would refer to guys who were bad. Mm-hmm. Hey, we got a candy bar over here. Who wants it? Who wants to have a good day? Who wants the good film? Ramon, a couple months ago, not even a couple months ago, a couple weeks ago, somebody called into the show and said Jarvis Brownlee should be up for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I remember that.
And when we said, nah, I don't know about that one, we got criticized for being mean to said caller.
Yeah.
Look, I know he's a fifth-round pick. I know Jarvis Brownlee is not maybe number one on the Titans' issues right now, but this is why we're not going to champion him for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Brian Thomas, 7 catches, 91 yards on 10 targets, a touchdown. Ramon, honestly, that might be my biggest takeaway from this entire game because we know the Titans stink.
Right.
We know the Jags stink. I don't think there's a ton more we can learn about this team other than how much will these games and the continued losing affect the status of all of the front office and the coaching staff and all these things. But I think my biggest takeaway from this game, Ramon, is that the Jags have got a dude at wide receiver, and his name is Brian Thomas Jr. That guy is going to be a problem for the foreseeable future.
100%. Like, he is him. He's one of one, and his record, his stats prove that too. They might be trash as a team, but
they've got some elite playmakers, and he's at the top of the list.
He walks in, Will, on that 13 team, 4-12 team, whatever they are, Jacksonville, and said, look, I did my part. Like, he can selfishly walk in and say, hey, I balled out. Y'all didn't ball out, which, of course, wide receivers get those types of mindsets and stuff like that. But you mentioned, so the story behind the candy bar is this. We had a running back coach mates who come in the team meeting on Wednesday, and he'd find a guy every single week because this is what people do. They figure out where's your weak link on this team, and he start calling him the candy bar, and everybody was just like, what's the candy bar, coach? He's like, man, you guys got sweet tooths, right? You guys like sweets and candies? Like, yeah. Well, we go find the candy bar that's the most tasty on the field, and everybody take a bite out of him. And I think that's what happened yesterday with Jarvis Brownlee. Now, I say this with this reasoning right here, though, too. First half had a lot going towards his way, and Brian Thomas Jr. ate, and he ate well yesterday. And I feel like for the most part, he was on his assignment when he was making those catches. You looked coming out in the second half, I feel like they made some defensive changes and stuff like that, and Jarvis Brownlee wasn't on Michael Thomas Jr., Brian Thomas Jr. It was more Awuzie. And that when they needed a touchdown, they put Brian Thomas Jr. in the middle of 3 receivers, and guess who had him, Will?
Jarvis Brownlee.
And what happened on that play, if you can recall?
Touchdown.
And
they almost had another one, too, that Brownlee actually made a play on on the goal line because the throw was a half yard out of bounds as well. But that was the game plan yesterday for Jacksonville when they needed points.
Yeah.
They went after Jarvis Brownlee, and they took their rookie against the Titans rookie and advantage Jags rookie pretty much every single time.
That's where I was saying to myself, like, this is the difference between like a first round, like elite talent and a guy that's got a lot of like drive and will, you know? So much so yesterday, man, there was a little bit of I think, discussion between the front end and the back end of the defense. Yesterday, I saw on the sideline, like the defensive line had a small issue with what was going on the back end for the first time. Interesting. And I honestly said to myself, I was like, yep, the bottom has fallen. Because I got to give it to them. And you know, I've said it time and time again in this studio. It's like the defense has held it together. There's been no infighting. There's been none of those types of things. And yesterday was one of the first time I saw like the pushback of y'all got to stop giving this up.
Yeah, that's not been common, has it?
No, it hasn't. And you got to give credit to Coach Brian Callahan for keeping it together, Denard Wilson, and most of the vets too. But it finally cracked yesterday. And I even said to myself, I was like, yeah, we hit the bottom now. We have.
So the friction you're talking about on the sideline, this is not just the productive encouraging each other.
No, it was.
This is devolving into something that is not ideal.
No, it's not. It wasn't ideal. And Coach Callahan said it yesterday. It's like when you're losing, everything sucks. And I think it finally like wore on him yesterday. Nothing makes you happy. Absolutely nothing like appeals to anything positive. And I felt like watching Brian Thomas Jr. yesterday have a day and catch yards, and it's raining and they're still moving the ball through the air. And Mac Jones, what's his name? McCorkle
Jones, yes, of course.
McCorkle Jones extended drives as it pertains to the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. Like, it finally, I think, hit a bottom yesterday where those guys just realized, yeah, this ain't it. And they're just not good enough. I had part of the CBS crew yesterday, Didi Kinkabwala, asking me, where's the talent? Like, these are the questions that, like, outsiders are asking.
It's a great question.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she acknowledged that her and her crew had conversations about how, the front end of the team can be good. Like, you got a few that you can somewhat count on. But, like, she was asking legitimately, where is the talent on this team? And it's hard to pinpoint. And as I said yesterday, man, they finally had a little I ain't gonna say a dust up yesterday, but there was some arguments yesterday on the sideline that kind of reared its ugly head. And that's when you know it's time to ship the cars to South Beach. Season's over.
615-737-1045 on this Titans Reaction Monday. The Titans lose their 5th straight game yesterday, but they also might have put themselves in position for the number 2 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. We'll take your thoughts on the phones at 615-737-1045. Give you our biggest takeaways from Titans and Jags next.
Hey, it's Kayla with We Grow Hair. I contacted them several months ago, told you the story many times, but was seeing that my hair was thinning on the temple area. So reached out to them, went in. They did everything to get me on my hair growth journey. And, you can lose up to 50% of your hair before you even notice it. So if you even notice a little bit, go in and get on a program. They'll get you headed in the right direction. They've got their PRP platelet-rich plasma treatments. Those are great for hair growth within 1 to 2 months. They have FDA-approved laser therapy, super simple. You go in, 30 minutes, you're out the door. That has really helped me restore my hair back. They also have their trademarked hair transplant procedure. That's going to give you 3 times more hair in just one procedure if you want to go that route. You cannot buy this cutting-edge technology online, folks. For almost 30 years, We Grow Hair. They've been Nashville's hair restoration premier medical clinic. And you don't have to wait. You can get your free evaluation today. All you got to do is call them 615-376-6010. That's 615-376-6010. Or just go to WeGrowHair.com.
RKW 104.5 The Zone on a Reaction Monday. 615-737-1045. Next to last time we get to do this, Ramon.
It is, man. It's been a run. It's been a wild run.
It has been a run.
Not the last time ever, dude. You don't have to say, hey, it's been crazy, man. It's been a privilege to do this show with you, man. You did say like that.
We've had a run. We've had good times.
Who says we've had a run?
No, 2024 has been like one of those years. Like, if you sit back and think of like how this season went, man, not just this season, but the Vols season. Not just like football, but like college football too. The Vols had a run this year. Like, if we're talking about pivots and like breaking down like sports on the radio, for me, this has been one hell of a run in 2024. I won't lie.
I feel like Ramon set it up so it could have had a high school montage set to 21 guns. 21 guns.
The folks stuck in the road. I hope you had the time of your life.
Hey, screw y'all, man. We mess around and have a full recap next week. Tomorrow, the end of the year. I want to talk about Vols baseball. Look, I want to talk about anything but what we had to deal with
It's
yesterday.
Ramon's top 10 plays of 2024.
Yeah. Why not?
Coming in at number 10.
What
I'm down with that.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
That was a good idea.
what excited you in 20? The Vols won it all in Omaha. Like, bam, let's start right there. Like, we're not doing this show, okay? Sadly. I don't want to turn on Buck Show and see Sad Boy radio on his hat.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Sad boy.
Say it like
Because
that?
when you spell it B-O-I, you got a boy.
See, I'm not allowed to say it like that. I think you're the only person who's allowed to say it like that.
Hey, hear me out. Sad Boy Radio is what we're
622. Ramon Foster.
You made it sound like Nappy Boy.
No, you're talking about this year, like, it's. Well, we've had a run. Of all the Titans teams we've watched, this is definitely one of them.
No, hey.
This is definitely one of them.
Listen, I've been having side conversations with folks. Like, the start off of a tenure, like, this is about as bad as it could have gotten. So, yeah, Will, that run was more like a walk. Like, you hit the gym this morning.
The problem I have with Sad Boy Radio is, like, where's the fun in that? Like, we got to be able to still have fun and come to work and smile and enjoy life. Like, at the end of the day, we are still talking about sports.
Hey, listen, I was on the Stairmaster this morning next to one of my partners.
Were you?
Yeah, I was. Look,
I'm trying to
beat the gym before the gym get crazy. You hear me?
Oh, that's true.
I actually had to tell my wife. I was like, "Hey, Keish, look, I can't live with you after work. I can't." I was like, "I'm absolutely not doing this lifestyle with you because I do this job and then I come home, then I'm tired. Like, this job this year has pulled a lot out. Well, like, the energy get low after the show, okay? And you got to reboot. So I'd much rather get my workout in on the front end of this thing. And look, here she is with a six-pack and ain't worked out in 2 years. What am I supposed to do with this keg over here, Will? You see what I'm saying? Like, I got
in the fridge.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Keep it in the fridge.
I'm in the same boat. Cheyenne eats like a teenager, man. We got all this Christmas candy. I'm like, what you want for dinner? I made some chicken thighs, some green beans, some potatoes. She's like, I had a bowl of cereal and three bags of gummy bears.
Yeah.
And she looking better than I ever could. I ain't weighed that much since middle school.
Dog, let me even lean in a little bit more. At Christmas Day, Keish goes into the pantry, okay, walks into the thing and was just like, oh, I forgot this Christmas candy. The hell you mean you forgot this Christmas? We done with this, okay? We are absolutely done with this. And don't start bringing in Valentine's Day candy either. We are good. I got to get right out here, okay? Whole six-pack, y'all. Ain't worked out in two years.
Anyway.
I know, man. We'll get it together, Will. You'll see now that you got a real boo thing now. You got a fiance.
I do have a fiance with 2 E's, which I'm told for the man, there's 1 E in fiance.
Huh?
For the woman, there's 2 E's.
Well, it's pronounced financier as the male, because you're the one that's going to pay for everything.
Oh my gosh! All right.
When you write, when you write, my dog.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Third down. Titans lost their 5th straight game yesterday. They are now guaranteed a last place finish in the AFC South for a 2nd consecutive season. Mason Rudolph goes 19 of 31 for 193, a touchdown, and another pick on another tipped ball that was supposed to be going to the running back. Nope. Went to the defense, went to Devin Lloyd. Tajay Spears, career high 95 rushing yards. Didn't even play the full 3 quarters before picking up a 2nd concussion this season. Brian Callahan has already ruled him and Jalen Duncan out. Hurt again is Duncan. Ruled them out for next week. So, look, Ramon, what did we learn about this team yesterday? Because at this point, let's just be honest with ourselves. The team stinks. A lot of these players are not going to be back. Mason Rudolph is not doing enough to be the bridge quarterback. Other than that, the play was excellent.
I'm just let that breathe. That for a second. I also just dislike you this morning. Okay,
thank you. I don't know what I did to deserve that.
Yes. All right. Well, you bring up a lot of points, man, and it all just boils down to this: it's bad. It's looking at the tip interception yesterday. It's just like, how do you continually make these types of plays throughout the course of the season? And I'm watching it, and of course, it seemed like the ball somewhat slipped out of Mason's hand. I ain't giving no excuse to it because bad attracts bad play, man, and it's been that way all this year long. Tyjae Spears, you brought him up. Case in point, having the day of his life as far as rushing the ball. And I feel like Jacksonville, they can do anything to stop him. They hit him at the line of scrimmage, and yards after contact seemed to be plentiful for a guy like him yesterday, man. And I felt like that if there was a pathway to win, it wasn't through the air with Mason. Mason made some plays, the wide receivers did some stuff. Brian Callahan schemed up a play or two for Nick Van Nett, but it just wasn't going to be enough through the air. And Tyjae, of course, gets caught. I saw somewhat of the replay. It looked like his head more than whiplashed.
Yep.
Did it hit the ground? I didn't think it hit the ground hard.
Kind of twisted before he hit the ground even.
It whipped real quick, though, right? Yeah, that's what I was thinking, man. So the Guardian captain couldn't do anything to prevent that one whatsoever. But that's just the story of this year. It's been a whole lot of that, and yesterday just compounded by the fact that you lost to a bad team. You know, when you're really bad is when you're losing also to other bad teams. There is no up from there, man. There is no hope, and you somewhat get that sentiment. Yesterday I was watching this team the Titans run out of the tunnel. And most time guys are eager to play the football games. I think they are. I will say that. I do think guys are eager to play, but you see a different expression on their faces. And it showed yesterday. Jacksonville starts off the game, man, with Mac Jones being able to walk the football down the field and get 3 points out of it. Not just that, but it was raining. They were able to pitch the ball around the field. Those are the types of things, man, that you can't allow when you're playing against bad teams, and especially this, too. They were going to their ex-players. They were able to use Travis Etienne a big time yesterday, use Tank Bigsby on third downs, and you knew they were coming with it. Brian Thomas Jr., again, breaking the wide receiver record, or one of four to get over 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns. And he had good days against you both times. Will said it earlier. They got a guy that you're going to have to deal with for the next 10-plus years, Will, barring bad injury or, Jacksonville can't get a contract done. He is one of them. And it's a shame that you look at this team, this Tennessee Titans team, even with a guy like Calvin Ridley signed, and you don't know if you have a Brian Thomas Jr. And I say that respectfully to Calvin Ridley because his quarterback play ain't been great. The offensive line can't hold up long enough to get him down the field. But when you see a guy operate like Brian Thomas Jr., you immediately, if you're a fan of any other team, heck, I even said towards Pittsburgh, I want one of them. I want one of them Brian Thomas Jr.'s that, look, you know what? They went after Malik Neighbors in New York, and I think he's going to be fine. But you really got to start scouting and looking at guys who are going to be ex-players for you. And I think Jacksonville hit a home run on him so far.
You need good players who are cheap.
Yeah.
That is the name of the game of winning in a salary cap league. You need really good players who are making a little bit of money. And the Titans don't have enough of them. You have to draft those guys, or you have to buy low and get guys who can play way above the dollar amount they are getting against the salary cap. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville has more of those than the Titans do at this point. And yesterday, I think the difference of the game was Brian Thomas Jr. Third downs, Jacksonville 8 of 13 in this game. It's the same script, right? We're not telling you anything new. Titans outgained the Jags 337 to 295. Didn't matter.
It
wasn't special teams this time. They stopped the run decently well. Travis Etienne, 15 carries for 49. Tank Bigsby, 11 carries for 33. But Mac Jones is able to extend plays with his legs. He picked up a couple first downs, scrambling, a little bit off script, 6 carries for 22 yards. Ramon, what was the biggest reason why the Titans lost yesterday? Your biggest takeaway from this game was what?
It was offense continually turning it over and giving short field. I thought that played a huge part in it yesterday. And then also on the other side of things, the defense can stop their playmakers. Like, I don't think Travis Etienne has been their bell cow as of late. It's been more Tank Bigsby more than anything. And you let a guy like Travis Etienne dash and cut you up and down the field as it pertains to his run yards. Like, we even said that in the pregame yesterday, like looking at Mac Jones. Mac Jones in that first drive was able to extend drives. I felt like when you looked at the Titans play yesterday, it was a matter of, I'll say this, even will to finish and just execution of plays. There was hardly any yesterday, man. And they gave you the field at times with being able to run with Tajay, but the offense couldn't finish drives. And then the physicality side of things, too, at the line of scrimmage on both sides. Like, Jacksonville was able to stuff the run a little bit more.
Yep.
Was able to also just move the defensive line in moments where it was, third and short. You mentioned 8 for 13 on third down. Like, a lot of that is understanding where you are on the field and just beating you up front. Like, I looked at this team yesterday on how they were outside of their rush lanes, and they had some negativity yesterday. I don't want to make it seem like it was all bad for this Titans defense. But when it came time for guys to make plays, Jacksonville was able to do that on top of the turnovers that the Titans had, too. And also this, too. I don't know what the referee saw with Mason Rudolph, but he did motion out, give a thumbs up, and I felt like I saw the referee give a thumbs up back to Mason on his alignment where he got the legal formation. But those types of things, they continue to happen throughout the course of the game and over the year, too. It's always been a legal formation or a false start or a holding call here or a sack. Like, in moments where you needed it, it's always something bad because they cannot hold up. And then now I'm looking at guys that I feel like would much rather just be on the sideline. I think they got a little bit of a personality issue. Because, again, I don't know this guy's injuries per se in intimate details, right, as far as Jalen Duncan's concerned. But I don't know what happened yesterday for him to be able to pull himself out.
Shoulder.
Did they show it on the replay? Because I missed it.
No.
Okay, and then in that point, you have a guy like John Njoku that comes in that probably wasn't ready to play. I don't know who was even going to play if John Njoku was that bad yesterday. Luckily, he actually was very serviceable.
He was the backup plan, right? Nicholas Petit-Frere was down.
But it's the have and the have-nots right now. I think the Titans are more, I'm going to say this, and I absolutely mean it, I think they're more than 3 years away from actually turning it around.
Like, 3 years from now or 3 years from when Callahan took over?
3 years from now. And they need this year. They needed 24. They're going to need 25, and they're going to need 26. 27. With what other teams have versus unless you hit home runs of free agency and the coach are able to stay here and you can get some type of baseline and foundation, I think it's 3 years, Will, because you're that far back.
615-737-1045. Time to give your take on Titans and Jags, where the franchise is at this point. There's a lot to unpack from the weekend for the Tennessee Titans. We begin with Mark in the borough. First up. Hey, Mark.
Good morning, RKW.
Morning.
Man, I don't know if I'm kind of sappy, which is just sad and happy, because I'm glad we're gonna get the number 1 or number 2 pick. If we lose to Houston next week, which is probably gonna happen, but I'm kind of excited about Callahan getting a chance to pick his guy. I think Callahan has a fight in him that he won't give up on this team, and I think he's gonna put some great pieces around him. But I called in last night and I asked, with us potentially getting that number 1 pick, do we draft our most desirable need in the quarterback, franchise quarterback, or do we draft defensive line or right tackle and build from the trenches?
Thank you, Mark. There's no way you're drafting a right tackle with the number 1 overall pick. There's no way. There's pretty much no way you're drafting, in my opinion, anyone other than quarterback or Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
If you get the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, we'll see what wide receivers come out of it, but you got to have a quarterback to throw to them. So, yeah, I think we eliminate wide receiver at this point.
At this point, there's so much we don't know yet. We don't know how teams feel about Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward quite yet, as clearly as we will because, right, quarterbacks and their stock change all the way up until the second the number one team goes on the clock.
Yeah.
The combine, the interviews, the workouts, the Senior Bowl, the Shrine Bowl, the discourse that is going to be had about the quarterback position. I mean, there are guys that we think right now will be first-round picks who will probably end up being second- or third-round picks. There are probably guys off the beaten path who will play themselves into being first-round picks. And, hey, well, this guy might be a top 10. So all of that being said, I do think at this point, Ramon, that yesterday wasn't a bad day for the Titans.
You know where I've been on, like, man, you got to win every football game.
And I'm with you for that, for the most part on that.
Yeah, 100%. I'm 100% with you.
However.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't ever want y'all to think like I'll lay down, okay?
Right.
Ever. But where you are right now with what you need and what you could do with being top two,
Yeah.
it's hard to make a decision to say, I want to win because I got on those, as Coach Munchak used to call them, the Oilers sips.
And this is a different conversation than saying, let's tank in October, right? Like,
Yep.
It's one thing to say, hey, like, I don't want to win anymore. This team's not going to make the playoffs, and I want to lose out and get the number one overall pick. Like, that's loser talk in October.
Right.
But I'll be honest, I get it now.
Yeah.
Because now we're not talking about, like, the losing's already happened. The hay's already in the barn. You've already infected this roster with losing, with just gross professional football. So at this point, you might as well finish the job and give yourself an opportunity to add some blue chip talent, which is something that this roster desperately needs, Ramon.
It is. And as I told you earlier in our first segment, like Aditi Kinkabala said that, who's a national person. Like, they just don't have enough talent. And that's sad to say because when you look at this team, like, this is the top 1% of all football players. We can say that, right? Top 1%, top 2% of guys, right? So they've made it to the pinnacle. But not every team is built the same. And that's what you're asking yourself at this moment right here if you go out and win. Because here's the other side of it. The haves are so good this year, and that the have-nots don't really have anything. You look at the bottom half, like, look at the draft order right now. It's so many 3 and 13s. And 4 and 14s or 4 and 12s this year.
Yeah.
That you say to yourself, like, if you lose, like, you move back to 6.
Yeah, if you beat the Texans,
Or
you
lower.
could have the 6th or 7th pick. If you lose to the Texans, the worst that you can do is the 2nd overall pick.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a hard conversation to make, Will, but I get it now. I do.
Absolutely.
And if you are in a position that it's your job, like, I ain't going to be obvious, Will, but there will be signs.
And it's a tricky situation to be. There will be signs. Talk about it like winning the lottery. When I win the lottery, I'm not going to flaunt it, but there will be signs. When you come in with that Gucci surfboard that you looked up on Amazon that one time. Goodness sakes.
See me getting dropped off as a chauffeur every day. There will be signs, dude.
Like pulls up to the studio in the new Bentley. You know there will be signs.
I can do that right now. But what I'm telling you,
You gonna drop it on the table for us, huh? Go ahead,
Okay.
out there, big
All
fella.
right.
I mean, that Beamer's about the same as a Bentley, just like 50,000 more. Look, hey, I told you if I win the lottery,
He said I wouldn't lose no sleep driving off the lot. Not one wink.
To be real with you. But what I'm telling you is this. If Jeff ain't feeling good, all right, Jeff, I got you. We'll put Abdullah in. You good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with running, Tavondre out there again. Like, there will be signs, is what I'm telling you.
And it's the tricky part of it that you have so many players who are trying to play for opportunities either here or elsewhere.
Yeah.
And you can't go to, those guys and tell them not to play. Like, there's contract incentives that have to be paid out. There are game bonuses. Like, if you're up and active, you get paid an extra couple $100,000, right? Like, it's a tricky situation to be in. But at this point, I cannot make the argument that the Titans need to win their last game against the Houston Texans next Sunday.
Well, here's the business side of it, though, from the teams. We've seen teams do this. Teams right now ain't trying to pay out their last check anyway.
Well, no, they're not.
Like,
They're definitely not.
Well, they get paid over 36 weeks now, but like they're not trying to give you extra to incentivize you. Like it is like it gets that dirty in the NFL.
Y'all want some draft trivia on the way out?
Yeah, hit me.
Okay, you talked about the Titans not drafting a tackle number 1 overall if they had that pick. Say they did. It would be the first time since when a tackle had gone first overall. Who was it?
Well, hold on. Tackle number 1 overall. Ugh.
It was a big switch the day of the draft. No one thought that this guy would go number 1 overall. They thought another tackle would go number 1 overall.
Yes. It wasn't the Chiefs,
It was the Chiefs.
Yeah, Eric Fisher.
Correct. Ding, 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 ding. 2013.
I was actually going before. I was thinking Joe Thomas. Eric Fisher didn't even
Eric
register
Fisher,
to me.
Central Michigan.
Correct. Central Michigan.
Who was the switch?
Roll chips.
I think it was Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson was supposed to go number
believe
1
that's
overall.
Was Lane a left coming out or a right? Because he's a career right tackle.
I would need to check on that. That's a
I
good
have
question.
to check on that.
and that's the
Or no,
thing
it
at
was
this
Luke
point.
Jokel. Luke Jokel was supposed to be number 1 overall.
Jokel went to
that's
Jags?
right.
Yes.
He was A&M?
Number 2 overall.
Yes.
Texas
Correct.
A&M?
Look at you, a bunch of ball knowers in here today.
That's crazy.
I remember Jokel. You want to know why? Because I was laughing because I was like, I made it further than he did. And I'm the biggest hater.
He was one of your
Always,
marks.
Everything's a competition.
615-737-1045. Open for your calls on Titans and Jags. What's next for the organization? Mike and Cousin P on deck as Reaction Monday continues on RKW. RKW 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up hour number one on a Titans Reaction Monday. 615-737-1045. The Titans made history for the wrong reason yesterday. We're going to talk about that coming up in just a few minutes. But Ramon, we were talking about Brian Thomas Jr. And the problem that he is going to be for the Titans moving forward. Mm-hmm. Of course, Jags star receiver yesterday, 7 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. He is one of 4 rookies in the Super Bowl era to record over 1,100 receiving yards and 10 receiving touchdowns, joining Odell Beckham Jr., Jamar Chase, and Randy Moss.
No, don't say that out loud. Don't say that out loud.
If I was LSU football, I would plaster that stat on every wall in the offensive meeting rooms.
That's 3 of the 4.
3 of the 4 guys, LSU wide receivers. And they still only went 10-3 last year.
While still having Malik Neighbors, also LSU guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
they had Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr., and they went 9-3 in the regular season.
As far as, I know, right? Nuts,
literally, that was my takeaway from yesterday's game of like, what? LSU couldn't win with these guys?
Yeah.
Really?
And on top of that, Will, he's going to end up having over 1,200 yards. I feel he's 1,179 yards on the season right now. And you got to see him twice a year at this point.
Yeah.
And they figured out how to use him, too, with McCorkle Jones. I'm never not saying his name like that, okay? I might say Mac, but I got to let you know where Mac comes from.
There's a chance McCorkle Jones could be the starting quarterback of the Titans next year.
I mean, he dealed on him this year. I mean,
former first-round pick.
Former first-round pick. Who's the most likeliest, before we go to this call, most likeliest to have a Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield rehash? I mean, just retread at this point, if we're going through it. I got my boy already.
If you're looking for someone who fits the profile of Darnold, Mac Jones does have a lot of similarities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who's yours be?
Biggest villain in New York right now.
Drew Lock?
Drew Lock.
Oh, God. He had a good day yesterday, but, man, his bad has been rough this year as well.
Well,
rough.
If you going into Gotham City like that,
well,
yeah, biggest villain in New York right now is Drew Lock, man. Shout out to him for doing a big deed yesterday.
Mike in Cleveland next up on the phones this morning. Good morning, Michael.
Yo, good morning. How you doing, William?
We're good. Yeah, not bad.
You good?
You?
Yeah, that's what's up. I'm all right. Just on the highway. You dig? I give you.
Oh, that's so kind of you. Thank you.
Don't give me no courtesy toot.
Hey, we ain't doing Sad Boy Radio, but we're going to talk about the Titans real quick. So the thing was funny that the announcers was talking about Callahan speaking on Mason maybe being a bridge guy, and then a few plays later, the interception happened. Yep. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Typical season.
Man, all season. Like I've been saying, man, you cannot compliment this team because even when Levis was in there, you said something good about them, boom, they showed you. Just keep your mouth shut. They suck. As far as, the debate of they need to lose, the way that they came out, man, they didn't have any interest in playing that game, or that's just what it looked like to me. It looked like, they really didn't care to be out there. They really didn't have a lot of confidence in themselves or a lot of confidence in what they was doing. It looked like they was ready to go ahead and just call the season quit. So why, as fans, are we supposed to keep on, I don't even know, expecting them to go out and do something. But, so that's where I'm at with this whole losing and expecting them to win or keep hope up that they're going to win. I don't think that they got too much hope. So I'm not going to keep on getting myself psyched up. But as far as this QB talk, what's up with Fields? Why are we not high on bringing Fields here? That's my question that I like to, hear y'all talk about. What's up with Fields?
Thank you, Mike.
But yeah.
Happy New Year, Mike. Be safe on the roads.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you. Justin Fields is my number one choice.
You said that.
I said that 2 weeks ago. Yeah. We all ranked our, as of now, top options at quarterback.
Yep.
If I could pick one that will be available in free agency, I would pick Justin Fields. And I would just lean in on being a run-first offense. Yep.
I take a Daniel Jones. I said that too. I just because I think there's something there. I say it's better than what you've had, but heck, he's cut after making $100 million. So
Right.
It's maybe environment changes it and make it better. Like you've got two guys now. One's been in the same environment, and Mason Rudolph been in a new environment himself and can't get it together. Like same touchdown to interception ratio is remain the same.
Yep. Cousin P in Asheville is next. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. And
Morning,
happy
Pete.
holidays to you all.
Thank you,
holidays
So,
to you.
yeah, I think Mike took the words right. And shout out to Mike, man. Mike's been a loyal Titans fan, man. I love
Real
that
one.
dude, for he always has the energy, man. But I think he hit the nail on the head. When I watched the game yesterday, I just saw a bunch of guys who truly did not want to be on the field, who did not want to be there. You know, Jacksonville in the best of cities, it was raining. What's the point? You know, what's the point in playing? That's kind of what I saw yesterday. And as a Titans fan, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm thinking, why are we here? My energy was low. I mean, watching the game, I'm sitting on my couch, so I know those guys' energy had to be low. But I am looking forward to hopefully not doing the Titans thing and trying to draft whoever and then go after some aging quarterback. I mean, that's been something we've done in the past. But I'm excited to see what Coach Callahan can do with his quarterback. Like, what's the guy that he believes fits his offensive system the best? And that is an exciting time for us to possibly have, the number one pick, hopefully, at least a number two pick. But, guys, tell me this. How mad are the Giants fans right now? I mean, they have to be completely foaming at the mouth right now.
Livid.
I mean, just livid, man. I mean, I'm talking rage quit, throw your controller on the floor. I just got beaten mad by 1 point type thing. So, hey, guys, I love y'all so much, man. I'll hang up and listen to you guys, man. So we'll talk to y'all later.
Thank you, Cousin
Happy
P.
New Year. Be safe.
I've got a buddy who's a Giants fan who was texting me the whole game like, come on, Colts. Come on.
Do the thing.
Literally.
Cousin P's also a real one. By the
Yeah,
way.
absolutely.
100%, man. Shout out to Pete. I guess my biggest, like, what does Drew Lock have to lose? I mean, if Daboll's going to be let go potentially too, I mean, what do you have to lose?
He's playing for a job somewhere else.
That's what I'm saying.
He's playing to be talked about as the next Sam Darnold, like you just did.
Seriously. And Antonio Pierce doing more favors himself also.
Right.
I mean, if I'm on my way out, then it screw y'all too.
So there was a report over the weekend about the future of the Titans organization from Ian Rappaport and NFL media about whether or not Brian Callahan will have the opportunity to pick his next quarterback. Got that for you next.
It's Ramon Foss for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Y'all, we're almost at the end of this year, and this deal ends then, too, man. Right now, Hiller is giving away cash for the holidays. Yes, they are still in holiday mode right now and still in the giving spirit. Right now, you can get a $500 Visa gift card when you buy a select new HVAC system or new whole home generator. They'll also give you a $250 Visa gift card when you buy a new tankless water heater. If you hadn't dabbled in that world right there, man, on the tankless water heaters, they are clutch. Go ahead and get that free $250 Visa gift card while you at it. These deals are available until the end of tomorrow. Yes, the end of the year. So schedule today at happyhiller.com.
What's going on? 7 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Titans fall to the Jaguars yesterday, 20-13 in Jacksonville. Mason Rudolph finishing 19 of 31 for 193 yards and an interception. His lone touchdown was to tight end Nick Vannett.
Rudolph looking, firing, man is wide open. Vannett, touchdown, Titans. Guess who the Jacksonville Jaguars forgot about? 8-4, Nick Vannett, and the Titans get in the end zone.
Can't really blame him. I probably would have forgot about him too. Titans fall to 3-13 and currently hold the second overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft with the final home game of the year against the Texans looming this week. Sunday Night Football, Commanders took down the Falcons 30-24 in overtime. Rookie quarterbacks going head-to-head with another rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels, proving why he's probably going to win Rookie of the Year. 24 of 36 for 227 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, adding another 127 yards on the ground, breaking RG3's single-season rookie rushing record. Commanders also clinched a wild card berth. Big step for a team that has not won a playoff game since 2005. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Rolling into hour number 2 on this Titans Reaction Monday. Welcome in to RKW. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Robert Walsh, 615-737-1045, and streaming live on 1045 The Zone TV. You stream the show on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. We are there for you every single morning, and we invite you to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel while you are there as well. The Titans fall 20-13 to the Jacksonville Jaguars yesterday. There is going to be a lot to break down this offseason, Ramon Foster, because the Titans are in line for the number 2 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, and we've got reporting about Brian Callahan's future.
Yeah, no doubt. Being number 2, listen, we don't listen to Ricky Bobby's dad on this show, okay? This is what we will. If you're not first, you're last. No, absolutely not. You're willing
I was high when I said that, Ricky.
You willing to be number 2. I got a feeling the good part of this city and this fan base is okay with being number 2. And we gave a little bit of it too, just like if you go out and win this upcoming weekend, which is the goal is to play the game and win. You go out and win, you can slip back to like 6 or 7.
Yep.
And we're talking about this team trying to get like elite talent, ex-players. We saw one of those guys yesterday in Jacksonville by the name of Brian Thomas Jr. Like, it just looks different, you know? So you got an opportunity to get a lot of capital or select the guy of the future. Like, what options do you want at that point?
Ian Rappaport of NFL.com and NFL Media writes, over the weekend, it has been a trying season for the Titans with a string of close early losses, underwhelming and at times confounding quarterback play, and a 3-12, at the time this was written, of course, now 3-13 record. But first-year head coach Brian Callahan and the bulk of his staff are expected to return. This according to Ian Rappaport of NFL Media over the weekend. He adds, internally, there is a feeling Callahan has shown long-term promise and the team has improved. The expectation next season is that will be reflected more on the field and the scoreboard. Fixing the quarterback position, former second-round pick Will Levis was benched in December, is job number 1. The Titans have other issues too, Rappaport writes, including fixing a special teams unit that was a major liability early in the season. Some staff changes are possible. Ramon, I'm going to tell you what I take away from this. Yeah. That Brian Callahan's probably back next year, but that the sacrificial lamb we all expect to be one of the sacrificial lambs is probably still going to happen in Cole Anderson at special teams coach. So some staff changes, but overall, unlikely that Brian Callahan goes one and done. Is that a fair assumption? Do you believe Ian Rappaport's reporting to be accurate at this point?
I do, because here's the thing. Ian doesn't get stuff out of thin air either. So that was fed to him by somebody somewhere that has some type of decision-making power. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way you got to somewhat look at this type of stuff, especially this later in the season, going to Jacksonville knowing that, look, probably, I mean, there was a 50-50 chance you can win this football game. So if you lose, guess what? The concept of them being able to keep it together, and Brian Callahan has talent as a coach, that wasn't said for nothing. I do think Brian Callahan should be given another shot. I do. I'll say this. I'm of the mindset you somewhat settle in with him. I do, because we've heard all offseason, right? And we've talked about it during this season, too. Oh, man, look what Dan Campbell did. Well, it was very murky with him, too. Very much so. 3-13-1 is what his first-year record was. All you're missing right now is the one. So can you go out and tie Houston this upcoming weekend? Like, that's what you're asking yourself. Like, it's dark right now. How else can you get out of it? And I understand the conversation everybody keeps bringing up. Well, Miss Amy is, she is volatile. She might do something. You don't want to tick her off and all those types of things. But there is no other way to fix this, man. I've said it. It's time and patience with this one. So, whoever released the statement from Pelissero, I side with that one. Rappaport. My bad, Rappaport.
So, in this, he writes, there is a feeling Callahan has shown long-term promise and the team has improved. Has this team improved?
Depending on what you're looking at. And I say that I'm a naturally an optimistic person. Okay, that's where I go with this.
You are.
Can I say it in this sense? If you're telling me that your young talent, Tavondre and JC and Tajay and even Jarvis Brownlee, even though it wasn't his day yesterday, Cedric Gray starting to play a little bit, that hey, those guys can play crucial parts for this team next year. And I believe in the idea that you have some foundational pieces under Brian Callahan right now. Yeah, it's gotten better and a case-by-case study. Holistically, Will, I mean, in totality, as a whole.
As a team.
They
have not improved.
No, they have not.
No.
The small victories is what whoever released that is looking for. It's small victories, Will.
I mean, J.C. Latham has not gotten better. He's gotten worse. I mean, according to ESPN, he's given up now, 14 sacks this season to lead all tackles?
14?
According to ESPN, PFF has him at 7. So, again, take that for what it's worth, because depending on who you talk to, they'll judge different ones to the quarterback, to the tackle, or run block, or to the running back blocking and all these things. But PFF has him allowing another sack yesterday, taking him to 7 this season.
Yeah.
So even to that point, right? Like, yeah, you've got young guys who have shown you promise, but, like, how many of those guys are getting better?
How many are getting better? And here's the other side of that, too, Will. If we flip the coin over, is this. Well, it's also hard to get better when the whole team is just bad, too. Like, I feel like if you put JC on the team, like how Joe Alt is with the Chargers, with some, baseline of what winning is and having a philosophy in place,
right?
Then, yeah, you get better play out of guys. I will say this. I've seen guys be on a good team and go to a bad team and they suck, too. So I do think as a culture, as a team, Will, as a style, that has to get better, because I do think there's some young talent. I think there's, Jeff is there. Amani ain't been in a time or two. Pollard is here.
Linebackers are the walking wounded.
Exactly. So, yes, it's hard to be good when you're amongst bad play. I will acknowledge
your
that.
roster has progressively gotten worse as the season has progressed.
So, and you can split that hair right there and say, yes, I'm coaching my butt off. I think we saw coming out in the third quarter that offense held the ball nearly 10 minutes.
It was a 9-minute scoring drive to Nick Vanette.
So, again, a lot of folks don't want to hear that because you lost. A lot of people don't want to acknowledge that, hey, you can try to be good while being bad, right? And I told you even yesterday, like, you're starting to see, because of the sideline issues that they had yesterday, guys getting upset with one another, like, they're feeling this pressure. They're feeling what losing does to you. The best thing for this team to do, man, is get ready to stay healthy going into this last game and pack it up and move on. Like, do your exit meetings and just fully reset and come in with a different mindset that nobody's ever going to lay down, even for a bad team.
There are young foundational pieces that have shown you enough promise to believe in them. I mean, Peter Skoronski has gotten better as the season has progressed. Amani Hooker has quietly put together an excellent season when he's been on the field and healthy.
But even to that point on Amani, who's going to talk about a money hooker on such a bad squad?
Exactly. When you give up over 200 rushing yards multiple times the back half of the season, I don't care how well the safety is playing.
Yeah.
You're still giving up 40 to the Colts, right? Like, they didn't give up 40, but close to it. Yeah. So, there are individual pieces. And look, J.C. Latham, you didn't expect him to be flawless as a rookie. J.C. Latham has shown you enough to believe, all right, yeah, that was a good pick. We got something there. I'm definitely not out on him.
You don't regret it.
No, but we also got to be able to call a spade and say,
facts.
he's not gotten better as the season's gone on. So if we're going to have the conversation about where has this team improved, yeah, I'm not out on J.C. Latham, but also he's not gotten better. He's hit a rookie wall. It's part of it.
He's worn down.
Yeah, sure. it's what happens to rookie tackles. It is what it is. So,
and it's inexcusable because your job as a coach is to ascend up, make guys be better, make the team be better too.
Right. So if I'm going to talk about guys that are getting better and where the team is getting better, he's not the best example of that, in my opinion. And a lot of these rookies are not the best examples of that. I can't give you a tangible place where the team has really improved.
Yeah.
Because when you cover up one of the holes in the ship, then another one starts to pop out. I mean, punt return coverage has been a lot better. Special teams have not led to points for the other team in about a month. But then you stopped giving up, or you started to give up really big runs. You were able to then, yesterday, not give up as many big explosive plays in the run game. Great. But then your secondary gets beat a couple of times just one-on-one because you're playing a really good wide receiver. Every time the team improves in one area, they regress in another. So overall, I cannot at all find you one tangible way to confirm what Ian Rappaport is saying, that the team is getting better. I just don't agree with that at this point.
I feel you on that one. Because even if we're talking about the personality of the team, if somebody was to ask you, what's the personality of the Tennessee Titans right now? What would you have to say?
Losing.
That's a fair assessment.
The identity of the Tennessee Titans right now is if you're a free agent and want to get paid to retire in Nashville, come on down. You're going to lose, but at least you're going to make a lot of money. You're going to live in a city a lot of people want to be in. And that's the identity of this team today.
And I ain't want to set you up like that, but I can't give you a definitive answer to say, yes, this team is doing this well.
I have no clue what they're good at.
Because even yesterday, looking at the running game that they were starting to have, and then to your point, all right, hey, you guys are doing good. You've been living right. Nope, no, you're not. Your leading rusher goes out with a concussion. To me, it just seemed like it was a crazy whiplash play of all types of hits that you take.
Because, statistically, you're the number one pass defense in the league. But, are you going to watch that game yesterday and really tell me this is the number one pass defense in the league?
Or why are teams not passing on you?
Yeah, because they're always winning late in the game.
There we go.
Of course you're not giving up passing yards because you're either giving up short fields on picks, short fields because the special teams can't tackle anyone, or you're just losing in the fourth quarter from all those other mistakes that no one needs to pass the ball against you to beat you. When you can run for 250 yards... yeah, they're not going to throw very much, are they?
Right.
It's kind of like all this stuff with Chigakonkwo and Tajay Spears and oh my gosh, they've got these weapons in the pass game. Yeah, because they can check it down by 20 in the second half. You want to know why Chigakonkwo is broken out the past couple games? Because they check it down to him in cover 4 and he's wide open. Because they'll give you 10 yards and they don't want you to have 40.
Let me make this about me and my comrades real quick, too. That's why I also hate when guys on defense get late second sacks. Okay, I get it. You're losing. We're just trying to get out of the stadium right now. Here you are.
10 years back, and we're throwing. Of course you're going to sack us a couple times.
Exactly. That to me is by far, again, but it's perspective. It's understanding of the entire situation right there. And you're right. Ken Chick didn't get involved until when? Yesterday. Late in the second quarter, if I'm not mistaken, or midway through the second quarter. So where is the ability to make plays consistently? Where, to your point, Will, the identity of it being better? And I do believe in the process that they got to go through. This team was well behind the 8 ball further than I feel like we thought in the moment.
Yep.
And now we're starting to see it.
History made by the Titans yesterday. Mac Nova is an ESPN researcher who put this out on Twitter. The Titans are the only team in the Super Bowl era to fail to cover the spread in 14 games during a season. At 2-14, Ramon, against the spread, the Titans have now secured the worst record against the spread of any team since 1978, when the NFL went to a 16-game slate.
Still a game to go, too, and I think they're favored.
The Titans are favored by 4.5 this upcoming Sunday against the Houston Texans. at last time I checked.
Yeah, right.
615-737-1045. Yep, 4.5.
Vegas just like to play.
Coming up, Drew Lock of the New York Giants gave you a gift, a late Christmas gift to the Tennessee Titans yesterday. What are your priorities for the number 2 overall pick? What are the options? Because a couple more of them may have just become available to the Tennessee Titans, considering what Drew Lock did for you. We'll talk about that next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Do you have a ceiling light fixture that flickers? Do you need an extra outlet or two? Or do you have wall switches that don't seem to work? I want to tell you about my friends at League Company because these all seem to be simple issues. However, they are rarely do-it-yourself projects. Dealing with electricity requires the expertise of an experienced professional. If you're like me, you try to mess around with the electricity and it's just going to make things worse. All of a sudden, the things that were working aren't. You got to call the pros over at League Company. Their electrical team can solve any problem you have safely and efficiently. And right now, you can enjoy $20 off an electrical service call for a limited time. You got to contact League Company today at 615-567-1000 or go online to leaguecompany.com for an appointment. That's online at leaguecompany.com, 615-567-1000. That's League Company. All you need. RKW 104.5 The Zone. Beautiful Monday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. The final Monday morning of 2024. And the penultimate Reaction Monday. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Robert Walsh, 615-737-1045. Going to talk about Titans and the NFL draft coming up in a moment because you were given a gift in New Jersey from Drew Lock and the New York Football Giants. Now on the first tee, please welcome the Indianapolis Colts. Welcome to the offseason, friends. Chris Ballard, Jim Irsay, Anthony Richardson, Joe Flacco. I want to welcome you.
Saved you a seat, buddy.
We saved you a seat. It's warm.
You know where they like
Weather's
to go?
fine over here.
You know where they like to go in the offseason?
Where's that?
Cabo.
Oh, yeah.
Cabo.
Cancun on 3.
1, 2, 3.
Cancun. So we're going to talk about draft and all of these things because I think the arithmetic changed a little bit, didn't it?
It did.
Yesterday.
No, it shifted big time, Will.
But first, let's go to the phones. Eric is in Nashville. Hello, Eric.
What up, Eric?
Hey, guys. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Guys, let me say this. I hope I make it through this phone call. Friday was bad because it was pouring down rain. And I was cooped up in my house because I was sneezing like crazy because of allergies. And then last night I started coughing like crazy. Been coughing like crazy this morning, so I either got a sore throat, so I hope I make it through without having a cough and fit. But, guys, as far as the game yesterday, I definitely thought yesterday they were kind of flat coming out. But I'll give them credit in the second half. I thought the offense at least definitely showed some fight, so I was proud of that. The defense, I thought, again, got kind of pushed around yesterday. We got no turnovers. If I'm not mistaken, guys, did we not get any sacks yesterday? I don't think we got any sacks.
You had 2 sacks yesterday for 1 yard total.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure did.
But still, Mac Jones was effective yesterday, and I agree with what was said about probably the special teams coach, Coach Anderson, should get fired, guys. But, guys, another thing you talk about the draft, I heard one person mention this yesterday. Most everybody thinks we'll probably go a quarterback. Guys, I wouldn't be surprised if we might trade out of that pick if we get a good offer and try and get some additional picks or try and get a haul because we need so much help in so many different areas. That's kind of my thoughts on that. I wouldn't have a problem with that, guys. And as far as Sunday's game, guys, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be cheering them on. And I'm going to be in my brand-new custom-made Titans poncho, which already I've had people questioning me about taking pictures and putting them on their social media pages and stuff. So I know there's going to be a lot of people going to ask me, man, where'd you get that from? It was a special custom-made gift that my brother got for me for my birthday. So I'm going to be really excited. Look forward to wearing that on Sunday. Guys, y'all take care. Tighten up, and we'll talk again soon.
Hey, now.
Thank you, Eric.
Fashionable Eric going to Nissan.
Where does one get a custom poncho?
If you got to ask questions, you don't deserve to know the answer. If you got to ask, Will, you don't deserve to know the answer.
I'm
Eric,
unfamiliar
don't even
with
look at the price tag.
with the facilities of customizing a poncho, but Eric knows.
No, absolutely, man. Now, shout out to his brother for getting that made for him. That's big time, too, man. Wish my brother Ron and Nardo or Rodney or Justin or Steven or Michael would do something for me like that.
Just name the whole crew. Name the whole crew. Sam is in Nashville. Up next. Hey, Sam. Sam, go ahead.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good.
So, one, with the new draft pick that we have coming up, I mean, I keep hearing us talking about, I'm joking, but you guys talking about a lineman of some sort. But I'm like, I'm sorry, but come on, if we have a 1 or 2 pick, how do we not think of like a Herschel Walker type of trade? Because you guys keep saying, too, there's no way we're getting everything with one guy.
Yep.
Right.
But somebody like, let's say the Ravens, why don't we go search for a team and be like, hey, look, maybe keep Henry 1 more year. Maybe add into your roster if you don't do it this year.
Right.
Add this guy in. How many picks can we get? What can we get from everybody?
No doubt.
Totally.
Everything's on the table right now.
Thank you, Sam.
It is. Thanks, Sam. Thanks for holding on, too. To get that out.
It is a good point, and I think it's a good transition into what we were going to talk about next, about where your priorities are with the number 2 overall pick. There is a big difference, Ramon, in this draft between pick 5 and pick 2. There's a big difference between pick 7 and pick 2. So as it stands right now, with a loss to the Houston Texans on Sunday, the Titans at worst will have the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft. If they lose and the Patriots win against the Buffalo Bills and their backups, you could have the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft.
Big time.
So here's the thing about that. New England in front of you right now has their quarterback in Drake May. You do not have your quarterback moving forward. However, you've got a lot of needs, and there are a couple you feel like can't miss prospects at the top of this draft, Ramon. Now that you are up at number 2, where are your priorities? Are you changing your tune at all on wanting a quarterback? Because we've got to be honest, how often are you going to have the chance to pick this high and get your guy at the top of the NFL draft?
And this is where you don't want to be, to a point, like I say, you want to be optimistic going into this weekend that, look, all right, the team has the ability to fight, but how much do you want to fight to? Because as it stands right now, there are 2 teams behind the Titans I think would absolutely take a quarterback and stash him. And that is, and it may be more than that, but that is the Cleveland Browns. At some point, they got to start moving on from Deshaun. I think they got to hold him on. If I'm not mistaken, the figures on his contract as far as cap is like $175 million or something like that. So they can't get out, but they got to start planning to move on from him at some point. And the Giants. What you don't want to happen is you get leapfrogged by both of them, right? If you do happen to win this upcoming weekend, or just they're not in a spot to where you don't have enough leverage. This weekend is all about leverage to me. How much can you lean into the idea that, look, if we're not picking a quarterback at that spot, and you mentioned how many times can you pick in the top 5 to go get your guy when you don't even have an in-house guy, and how far are you away from like really gathering that much talent? Well, it's such a sticky situation, man. If I could have a conversation, I would tell him, I don't envy your job this upcoming offseason, because to sit at the number 2 spot, a very high spot where, like you said, the top 5 in this draft, as it pertains to it right now, PFF, and it's just one random list I pulled up, have it as Travis Hunter, Tetairoa McMillan, wide receiver at Arizona.
Yep.
Again, are you a wide receiver needy team right now? Can you handle that? Because who's going to throw them the football? They got a D lineman out of Michigan, Mason Graham. They got Ashton Genty. You good on running backs. You don't need him.
Yeah, no, that's the one thing I think you could totally rule out.
Exactly. And then they got quarterback Will Johnson. I'll do number 6 too, edge Abdul Carter at Penn State. Right? So how far are you willing to drop to let a team get their quarterback so that you can get I'm talking about a flurry of picks? That, to me, is where I think you are. I think you got to move back, Will, and I hate to even say that. Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, how good can they be if the team is this bad?
So with the number 2 overall pick, Ramon Foster, what would be your number 1 choice, your plan A, as it stands on December 30th, which, again, is very far away from the NFL draft, and a lot of things are going to change?
I got 2 options, and it's only 2 options for me right now.
Give me plan A first.
Plan A, a quarterback.
A specific one, or just a quarterback? Because if you are picking with number 2, you're either going to be able to draft Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward.
I will say when it comes to who I'm picking between Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, I've loved Shedeur all year long. I've told you that. I do think he make quarterback plays, but I did not love that BYU game for him. And I'm sure maybe he was checked out.
Bowl.
Yeah, the Alamo Bowl this past weekend. He got bodied in a lot of different ways, and it just didn't look like it was there for him. And maybe he was just trying to make it out healthy. So we'll see what the offseason draft looked like for the quarterback draft. Cam Ward, to me, I ain't going to lie to you, he spends it. He spends it well. His ability to find X plays is, of the 2, I think is better. But I like the fight and drive and will of what Shedeur has too. So right now, I told you all year long, and I even said it, what was it, midway through the season, I was like, I'm telling you, Shedeur's a high caliber quarterback.
Yeah.
Makes every
You've been on that train for months.
But now that we're here, Will, I don't want Rands or Taz drop at all. Because it's really like splitting hairs on who you want, because the flaws they have show. Shedeur, like running around the pocket backwards and forwards. We've seen that be attempted in the NFL. We're watching Kyler Murray right now attempt to do those types of things.
And we watch Cam Ward attempt that too.
And we see him do that too.
100%. But both of them are good off script, out of the, the framework of the offense playmakers.
I'm probably going to go with Cam.
Over Shedeur Sanders?
Over Shedeur.
Okay. What's the biggest reason why?
The arm, the vision in the pocket, I feel like is a little bit better. I feel like he's elevated a Miami team that didn't have much elevation to it. Again, if we're going to judge Will Levis to what he was at Kentucky,
that's
by
fair.
Not bringing his guys over the top. Like, yeah, I got to look at the competition that Shedeur played against. If I'm really breaking it down this time of the year right now, the competition he played with, what they were actually doing, and who he had. I will say this as it pertains to, and I'll throw I guess you can throw what's his name in there too, man. Travis Hunter's one of the top 3s, okay? But here's the thing about Travis Hunter to me. I think he was a big dog in a small pen is what I'm going to tell you on that one, too. Because if you're asking me this, is he dynamic? Yes. Is he a heck of a playmaker? 100%. But when you look at him playing both sides, I don't think we've seen a player do that in the NFL. We've seen kick returners be wide receivers, right?
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to play both in the NFL unless he's maybe a corner that is giving you 10 snaps a game at wide receiver in certain packages, right?
I get a guy like Travis Hunter in the building, but he probably going to go to defense in the NFL if you're asking me, because if you're looking at his route running as a wide receiver,
sure,
low. His ability to make plays and jump balls, yes, I'm there.
Right.
But is he Brian Thomas Jr. as a wide receiver in the NFL? I'll say this, no. I'm okay to be wrong. We come back and revisit this at the end of 2025.
Sure.
I don't look at him as wide receiver, as a Brian Thomas Jr., as a Malik Neighbors type of guy in the draft. I don't see him being a Jamar Chase unless he really hones in on being a receiver, because here's his routes: slants, deep balls, and comebacks.
Okay.
He got 3 routes. What is he as a route runner in the NFL? I'd much rather play him on the defensive side of the ball. And if you're saying that, then put him on corner. This team is, I think, corner with where they are. You need them, but I'd push that down the line. I'm going to go quarterback, D-line, edge, and not linebacker at 5.
Yeah, no.
Or 2. No.
So at this point, here's what I'm doing if I'm the Titans. I am spreading as much Cam Ward propaganda as I possibly can. Because what this team needs more than anything is elite playmakers at multiple positions. And the way you do that is by hyping up Cam Ward's draft stock enough to where somebody will pay you a king's ransom to move up to take him. That's what you need at this point if you are the Tennessee Titans. Here's what I think is going to happen as of December 30th, which again is a long, long way away. I think the Patriots are trading out of the number 1 overall pick. I think a QB-needy team like the Raiders or the Giants are moving up to 1. And I think Shedeur Sanders is gone before the Titans can even pick. So, that being said, Shedeur Sanders is my top choice.
Okay.
I think Shedeur Sanders is the better overall prospect than Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward's bad decision-making is going to look a lot like Will Levis's bad decision-making on this roster. Because if you think Will Levis has some processing issues and some, let's fling it down there, he's down there somewhere plays, wait until you watch Cam Ward. Yeah. A lot of the same problems. And I think that Cam Ward, in his ability to make plays outside of the structure of an offense, is great in college. I don't know if he's athletic enough to pull that off at the next level. I had the same concerns about Jay Daniels, and he's doing it.
I know.
But, so obviously, I could be wrong. But I think Shedeur Sanders is the better overall prospect, and I don't care about the noise. I don't care about the Deion stuff. This franchise has been too bad at quarterback to be picky about the rap careers of the guys who are good at quarterback. So miss me with but Deion's a distraction, all this stuff. I do not care. The guy can play quarterback, and honestly, I think Deion's going to tone it down a little bit when he gets into the NFL, because I think Deion understands what his son is about to go through because he's done it himself.
Yeah.
So, again, you can be critical of some of the things Deion Sanders has said and done, but at the end of the day, the results speak for themselves. He has developed a can't-miss quarterback prospect, and he has improved the Colorado program to a level that people do not give him enough credit for. So I don't care. Miss me with the Deion hate. I don't care. My plan B would be to trade back. But you only get to do that if somebody believes enough in Cam Ward to move up to number 2. Yeah. And that's the thing I think we do a lot when we talk about trading back, Ramon, is we have the discussion to say, we'll just trade back, get some picks. All right, well, it takes 2 to tango.
It does.
Who is moving up? What do they want in order to move up? Can they get that guy where you are? Where the Titans are in a really interesting position now is that they've got so many needs. Kelvin Banks might be sitting there at the 6th or 7th pick. The Giants want to come up to 2 and take Cam. All right. Give me your first next year. Give me my 3rd that I don't have the rest of this year. Yep. You do that deal? Absolutely, I would do that deal. You could maybe even get Abdul Carter with a trade back. Mm-hmm. This team needs playmakers and needs a good situation for a young quarterback to walk into before they allow a young quarterback to walk in here and save them. Because those guys don't grow on trees. And even if you get a C.J. Stroud-like rookie season, look what happened to C.J. Stroud his sophomore season when some of the pieces around him got hurt and it started to crumble a little bit. That's when you get Robert Griffin III. So that's where I am. I think plan A is Shedeur Sanders. I think plan B is a trade back. I think plan C is Travis Hunter. Because if you are selling me on, all right, you got to pick somebody at 2, Travis Hunter is a playmaker, man.
At 2, you don't find yourself in, respectfully to him, or you don't find yourself in a Corey Davis situation.
No.
So that's a situation right there to where, all right, you want to trade out from all the stories I've heard about that pick right there, but you couldn't. And also on the trade part, my second option is a trade too.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about the trade. Immediately after it's released and Pelissero gets it, Rappaport gets it, Dove Climb, all these guys gets it. The narrative has to be the Titans won it. The Titans won the trade. It has to be that way. The picks got to matter, right? More than one, like you said, getting that third round back. If you're picking number 2, you're picking number 2 in every round too. Mm-hmm. So it's a matter of what else can you stack? Like how can you sweeten the pot for me, especially for a team that wants to go get a quarterback? Like, because the Titans can really play chicken here and tell a team like New York or tell a team like Cleveland, we can just take them.
Yeah.
You're stuck.
Yeah, like we like Cam Ward. We'll take him.
We take him. And
unless you want him.
Unless you want him.
And then, step into my office.
Again, this upcoming weekend, we ain't saying lay down.
Right.
But there should be signs.
I think we're going to learn how good the Titans front office is at the game of the NFL draft this offseason. I want to see smoke screens. I want to hear lies. I want the Titans to be striking up the band in the season of lies. We need to be hearing that the Titans love Cam Ward. Absolutely love him. Oh, the Pop-Tart Bowl opted out. Oh, we don't care about that. We want him. Wait, he's a playmaker, right? We are all in for him. Don't you agree, Giants? I don't know who your coach or GM's going to be, but don't you agree up there? Oh, he'd look great in that Giants blue. Or Titans blue. We'd take him too. 615-737-1045. What are your draft priorities at the number 2 overall pick as of December the 30th? More of your reaction on that next. RKW wrapping up the first half of the show this morning on 104.5 The Zone. The question before the break, what's your plan A for the Titans draft now that they're up to the number 2 overall pick? As of today, look, we get it. Got months to go. Haven't even gotten to the underwear Olympics yet. That's in a while. We know that as the NFL Combine, of course. But as of today, what are your priorities moving forward? Let's go to Will, who is in Fairview this morning. Good morning, Will. Will, you there?
What up, Will? All right, we'll call him Bill. It's Bill here.
Oh, we got you now. What's up, Will?
Right on. Yeah, man, so I just wanted to touch on this draft talk this far out in advance. It sounds like to me that, you guys are somewhat trying to talk yourselves into one of these 2 quarterbacks. That's fair. We're a long ways out and whatnot. But it just seems to me if this franchise is going to get back on track, back to the good old days, if you will, we got to start building our line. I've heard a lot of people say it, and it sounds so true. You got to get that offensive line shored up. So when I would do plan A, I'd do everything I could to find somebody to trade back with, get some extra picks, get one of these premier offensive linemen, maybe there's a couple defensive end rushers out there. That kid at Penn State sounds like he might be a pretty good prospect. But I definitely build the foundation. I just think that taking a gamble on a quarterback, lots of teams do it. It seems like it's too much of a gamble, and you waste a lot of time. Everybody talks about the 3 years on the rookie contract. Do we sit them? Do we play them? They get rushed in there. I mean, this team we got right now, any quarterback's going to struggle to a certain degree. And so that's just where my head is. I would trade back. If I can't trade out, if I'm stuck with number 2, I guess you got to go with that Travis Hunter. Seems to be a playmaker.
Yeah.
But that's where my head is, man. I don't think chasing after a quarterback is going to build anything for our future until we get an offensive line.
Thank you, Will.
Like a waste of time. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, appreciate the call.
Appreciate it, Will.
I do not think the Titans will draft an offensive lineman in the first round for a 3rd consecutive year.
I don't, to that point, though, about drafting one. If you move back, all right, cool, we get more draft capital. That's a different conversation to be had, right? Depending on how many other picks you get to actually, strike the iron. So it's that side of it, too. But most of the guys in this year's draft, like you brought up Kelvin Banks Jr., like he's not as highly ranked as the guys last year. And, of course, I've heard Zach Lyons say this. I got to dive into it myself.
Yeah.
We get closer to draft season. But to see if he's an NFL tackle or is he going to transition to a guard. We're watching a guy right now who's picked in the top 20 in his draft class, and Mekhi Becton now is a guard in the NFL.
A lot better
and
at
thriving.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thriving. So, again, I'm with you. You shore up the defensive front, offensive front, but there's only so many times, Will, to your point, that you're able to get this type of talent.
I mean, right tackle obviously is a massive priority for this team, but I also think offensive line is not as big of a concern if Will Levis isn't your quarterback.
Right.
Because a lot of the issues you've had on the O-line are when Levis is back there. When Mason Rudolph is back there, you're not taking nearly as many sacks.
Or if you could just get someone who's serviceable.
Right.
Like, I feel like they've gotten well below average play at right tackle. If you just get someone who is slightly below average or average, like the play would tick up considerably.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I just don't see this team for a 3rd straight season taking an offensive lineman with their first pick. There are so many other needs that you've got to start addressing at the premium draft positions. Let's go to Peach. Is this right? Peach?
You're so cool.
Is in Old Hickory. What's up, Peach?
What up, Peach?
Hey, I called last year at this time, and I told you guys we need to lose the last game. Y'all was all for winning. They needed the confidence.
We were, yeah.
The most Titan thing we're going to do this weekend is we will win. And it never fails. They're going to be in the Love You Blue at home. They will win this weekend. So you can take all your money to the bank and put it on the Titans this weekend.
Don't say that, Peach. Don't say that.
Thank you, Peach. Feeling very peachy.
Feeling very peachy.
About the Titans.
You do got to consider, like, the business of it. Like, I don't I'm not in Miss Amy's office, never been to a meeting. Heck, I hadn't even met her personally just yet. Yes, I have. I shook her hand once, okay? And I say that to say the decision-making behind this upcoming weekend goes a lot of different ways, because here's the other side of it. Is I've heard so many people, and this is always what I say, I heard so many people say, you know, how quick she can make a decision off of emotions and stuff like that. And you look at this upcoming weekend as one of the moments. To our point of Peach, like, does pride get in the way of actually trying to set yourself up for the future? Because here's the thing. If it matters that much for a team that don't really correlate to you, because the Texans are a totally different franchise.
Right.
The team is you took everything that the Oilers have, and it's in a box with a lock that you control. It's yours, right? They were also in a position where they fired head coaches back-to-back seasons. They traded away a franchise quarterback and got a heck of a deal in the process of it, and somewhat have set themselves up. I don't know if C.J. Stroud's going to turn it around, but they won AFC South fast as heck this year, right, as it pertains to the rest of the season. Decisions like this in business, I've always told, if you ever met somebody successful, they probably got a lot of dirt under their fingers where they've done some dirty work and probably have, ticked off a few people.
I don't know if the Texans are the best model to follow right now, as bad as they've looked recently.
I mean, to that point, though, they got their guy, essentially, right? There's more hope for him than what you have here with this guy.
But no doubt. I mean, that's a low bar. But
it is.
I don't know if I'm wanting to recreate anything Houston's got going on. I think they just won the worst division in football.
But the point is, they're jumping off a higher platform than this team is right now for the next few years. Even more so, a lower platform than where I think the Lions were at the time. Because to that same point, you didn't know what you were getting out of golf, but you have the ability to have a guy.
And both of those teams were bad for a really long time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like right now, the Titans don't have a guy. Like even the Texans had Deshaun. The Titans don't have a guy so that you can go out and start just like getting other picks to make him better.
And that is where this team is kind of in the worst spot right now. How many elite players are on the Tennessee Titans roster? I can think of one.
One.
It's Jeffrey Simmons.
Yes.
And even Jeffrey Simmons is not good enough to keep you from giving up 250 rushing yards to the Indianapolis Colts. So while, yes, you have an elite playmaker, you have one elite player on this entire team. I mean, Nick Folk. Nick Folk's been pretty elite this year. But he's also 40, and he's the kicker. So again, like, you need more blue chip talents. Even Jacksonville has Brian Thomas Jr., has Joshua Hines-Allen, has Trayvon Walker, who might not be number one overall pick level talent, but he's a good football player. He's absolutely a good football player. And Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as we joke about Trevor Lawrence and him not living up to expectations, I would rather have the Jags quarterback situation than probably anyone else in the AFC South right now. Literally.
Barring their quarterback situation, the Colts got more blue chippers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Quentin Nelson, DeForest Buckner, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Downs, Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, heck, they got a quarterback with under 50% completion percentage, and they still almost made the playoffs. The Colts did. Like, they're not good at much, but they've got some elite players. Like, that's four right off the top right there who are better than what you've got.
No.
This team needs elite blue chip talent, and for once, they look to be in position to get it. 615-737-1045 is the number. You can take it anywhere on Titans Reaction Monday on the phone lines. Get to an interesting quote from Brian Callahan yesterday. The biggest thing that stood out from his press conference. We'll play you that audio coming up next. Hey, what's going on? It is Will Bowling inviting you to come tailgate with us at Gray and Dudley's Bankers Alley Hotel for the final time this Titan season. Obviously, it is getting colder outside, but don't worry. We are staying warm and taking it inside for the game this weekend against Houston. We still got the same delicious food, craft cocktails, family-friendly atmosphere, and exclusive game day valet parking for just $30. Or you dine in at Gray and Dudley and enjoy discounted parking for only $20. So come join us at Gray and Dudley's tailgate at the Bankers Alley Hotel, 221 2nd Avenue North. It is the perfect way to start your game day. For more details, head to 1045thezone.com. Again, that's 221 2nd Avenue North. We'll be there at 9:30 this Sunday morning, tailgating for Titans and Texans.
8:02. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Titans fall to the Jaguars 20-13 in Jacksonville. Mason Rudolph finishing 19 of 31 for 193 yards and an interception. His lone touchdown to tight end Nick Vanette.
Rudolph looking, firing, man is wide open, Vanette, touchdown, Titans. Guess who the Jacksonville Jaguars forgot about? 8-4, Nick Vanette, and the Titans get in the end zone.
Titans move to 3-13 and currently hold on to the second overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, with the final home game of the year against the Texans looming this week. Sunday Night Football, Commanders took down the Falcons 30-24 in overtime. Rookie quarterbacks going head-to-head. Jaden Daniels proving why he's Rookie of the Year, finishing 24 of 36 for 227 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, also adding 127 rushing yards on the ground, breaking RG3's single-season rookie rushing record. Commanders also clinched a wild card berth. That's a big step for a team that has not won a playoff game since 2005. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
And the show goes on into the second half this morning on RKW. Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Ramon Foster, Will Bolding, Robert Walsh, 615-737-1045. Jags 20, Titans 13. The Titans get closer to a top 5 pick. Right now, they'd be second, but they lose their 5th consecutive game, setting up a Week 18 finale in Nissan Stadium in Oilers jerseys against the Texans again. Noon on Sunday, when the Titans will take on Houston for the final game of a season, Ramon Foster, that will mercifully end this upcoming weekend.
It will, man. And hopefully the turnout will be good, considering it's a rivalry. Still, it's the last game of the year. It's going into the new year. I mean, come see the show. That's what I would tell you this upcoming weekend. It's been a long one. I've enjoyed it, though, Will, for the most part, considering I don't have to play.
Sure.
Okay? But as it pertains to what this upcoming weekend means, a lot is on the table. I mean, a lot is on the table. Like, I'd love to be a fly on the wall for these ownership meetings this upcoming weekend. Not just that, too, the team side of stuff. Like, it's cool somewhat watching Hard Knocks right now because you get a look behind the door effect of what coaches say and think. I never wanted it as a player. On the retirement side of things right now, well, I'd love to be a fly on the wall right now listening to Coach Brian Callahan have a staff meeting.
It's also a good time to set standards for your kids. Like, if you want to bring your kids to a game this weekend, the Titans would be the place to do it, because there is nothing worse than a bratty kid that does not know about losing. Have y'all ever run into a 7-year-old who's a fan of the Celtics or back in the early 2000 teens when they were fans of the Patriots? You don't know anything. You don't know anything about this sport. All you know is winning. That's not real. If you bring your kids to these games, you set expectations early. Hey, you can and will get your ass kicked, and they'll be better losers for it. So if you want to teach your kids a great lesson, take them to the Titans game this weekend.
What do you say? It's too many participation trophies and medals given out anyway.
It ain't winning every day. You're going to lose, and you're going to lose a lot in life, and you're going to learn that today right here in Nashville. Merry Christmas, kids.
This is a
Happy New Year to
you. You filthy animals. Bert, that's one way to really box it in, man, is to say, hey, look at us. We've been down till we come up, man. It's going to be a good show. And then here's the thing, too. I'm going to go ahead and say it on the front end of stuff, Will, before we go into this new year. You will be drinking the Kool-Aid this summer again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we'll talk ourselves into it.
It might not be as sweet.
No doubt. No doubt. Hey, new quarterback. Hey, were the Titans a quarterback away the whole time? 615-737-1045.
This whole rigmarole, yes. We're going to do it again.
If Levis doesn't turn it over those first 2 games, maybe it's different.
I'm telling you, the Kool-Aid might not be as sweet, Will, but you're going to drink it again.
It'll
It
still
ain't clear.
still be a little red.
It'll still be a little red.
Oh,
we
man.
right back at it because we love this thing called football. Y'all stop tricking yourselves.
It's why NFL is king, is they sell every single fan base on hope every offseason. Every single offseason.
I see
They're
everybody
very good at this.
talking about $10 tickets, $3 tickets. Yes. See, now you already reasoning with yourself. Like,
Yeah.
it ain't that bad.
It's also, I mean, it's a good opportunity to take your kids to a game if they've never been before.
Oh, for real.
This is a good dry run because if they want to leave, if they're getting antsy in the third quarter, you can go. You're not really that pressed about it. You're like, you know what? We will leave early and we will get an icy on the way home. Absolutely, we will. You want to go to Sonic's? Let's go to Sonic's, as Ramon would say. You want a McFlurry? Done. We don't need to watch this fourth quarter. Let's go get a McFlurry, kid.
And you know them youngins ain't never seen a pile of dirt that big. Kids love
You
that
and
kinda-
your dirt, man.
I cleaned my office the other day, and Cheyenne was like, "Oh, you put your dirt up." I moved it from downstairs to my office. Yeah, I'm telling you, kids will love two things. They will love big pieces of earth, and they will love machinery. And they have, as my younger nephew would call it, diggers. They have diggers out there. Yeah, they do, son.
Sure.
And they got
That's a good call.
cranes.
Yeah,
They got cranes.
So literally, the way we just try to get you to go to the Titans and Texans game this weekend is look at a big pile of dirt. That to sum up what Robert Walsh just told you. You want to go look at some dirt? We got a great one for you this
Get a
Sunday.
great vantage point.
At
I'm telling you.
Stadium.
And to add to the
man.
fact, well, I got an even better task for them after the game, too. If they want to leave early, the kids ain't got all their energy out. Look, holiday shopping is done. Take them to Opera Mills. Bust a lap. I think a lap around the mall.
Get
is
those
a
gift
mile.
cards out. Let's go, buddy.
P.F. Chang's open now. Like, you can sit down a cheesecake. Like,
Get on that big ass horse out
you
front.
see what I'm saying? I'm glad you threw the S on that one.
I had to work through it.
Anyway. I thought this was interesting from Brian Callahan's press conference yesterday. You talk about the effects of losing on an organization and specifically on a head coach who has never gone through this before and is going through it before for the first time in real time. Callahan asked about, are you numb at all to losing?
I hope they're not numb to it. I sure am not. Yeah, it sucks. It's terrible. There's no joy in this process. There's no fun in this. It's terrible. I feel it every day. I walk into work. I feel it every day. I stand up in here in front of you guys. Nothing is enjoyable about this. So I don't get numb to any of it, and I would hope nobody gets numb to it. And our job is to try to fix it and do whatever we can to fix whatever problems we got to fix, to add whatever players we have to add, to make sure that we have a better football team moving forward.
That's Brian Callahan yesterday after the loss to the Jags. As much as the NFL can sell you as a fan base on hope, and a lot of Titans fans yesterday are happy about the loss because now you got the number 2 overall pick. And I get it. I'm not going to wag my finger at you and say, shame on you for being happy you got the second pick. This team needs elite talent right now. I get it. But that is the other side of it, Ramon. No one in that building is feeling that joy today or yesterday about losing, and Brian Callahan sounds like a different person than he did early in the season. We talk about how, political figures and head coaches a lot of times, the thing they have in common, they age in dog years when they go through seasons like this. Brian Callahan's about 7 years older, it sounds, from what he sounded like when he took this job.
And you know what? I believe what he said right there. I've dealt with strings of losing, like losing 3 in a row. It does. Well, like nothing's enjoyable about it. I never forget. My wife told my youngest they used to wait for us in the family area after we come back to pick them up after the games and stuff. And my wife said she told the boys, "Hey, don't mention the game to Dad." You know what my youngest Miles did? "Dad, how you guys lose that game?" Dang. Coach is right. Like nothing's enjoyable about
Miles Cook.
But Miles Cook, he wasn't wrong. It didn't affect him. Hell, his iPad was still working during the game, okay? But you take shout out to my boy. That's my guy, though. Him and RJ.
It's your mini you.
It is. But you take everything home with you. And I believe him. But, like, here's the other side that I'm learning in my small J journalism career, okay, as a sports entertainer. I believe what you do, though. Like, I'm going to listen to what you say, Coach, and I feel you. Like, yeah, it sucks to lose and be in this spot to where you are fighting for your job because losing means you're getting fired. You're not good, right? This is a winner's business, and there's only so much losing you can take. And I appreciate you saying, like, nothing about this is enjoyable, but I'm going to watch what they do, though, too. Like, the decision that's got to be made as a coach in his young head coaching career.
Yep.
Like, what happens this 2025 cycle, like, can change a lot. Like, where's the optimism in it?
It might define his identity as a head coach of the NFL, what he does this offseason.
You know what's even cooler about it, though, too? Like, and here's the other side of it. Like, guys, OCs become head coaches and can go back to be position coaches when they're done.
Yep.
He can also somewhat give this team a gift in the sense that, look, if he gets his quarterback, he plays and coaches up his quarterback and it don't work out, but he ends up having to be here because there's a fifth-year option for first-rounders, right? What if he turns into something after you leave? You can say, look, this is why I wanted that guy. Maybe I didn't have the offense for him, but he has the talent. Like, there is that side of it, too, to where as much as you possibly can, whatever timeline you're going to get from ownership, like, this is a big moment for Coach Brian Callahan moving forward. It really is, Will.
615-737-1045 on this Reaction Monday. Coming up, we shift gears. Does Tennessee have a big transfer portal problem in football? They mainly got out of the transfer portal without losing starters and elite players until the last about 30 minutes of the transfer portal window. We'll give you the latest on what we're hearing out of Knoxville and how concerned we are about a mass exodus on Josh Heupel's Tennessee football roster coming up. Hey, it's Will Bowling. I want to tell you about my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center. Their team of doctors of audiology are always committed to providing patients with the most hearing device technology. The most recent stuff of the market, the most advanced stuff you can get to help you or your loved ones hear better in crowded environments or even just having a one-on-one conversation. And look, we were all around a lot of people through the month of December, right? Either the company holiday party, maybe you had family around, whether it's you or it's your parents, it's that aunt or uncle, maybe it's a kid that cannot hear as well as maybe they used to be able to. Well, Brentwood Hearing Center, they have got the best technology on the market to help fix that. And they've got 5 doctors of audiology ready to meet your specific needs. Brentwood Hearing Center understands there is no cookie cutter approach to better hearing. They're going to sit down with you. They're going to understand what environments you're having the most trouble hearing in, and they're going to give you the best technology on the market to fix that and find out what sounds you have been missing. Give them a call at 377-0420 or visit them online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. Again, that's Brentwood Hearing Center, right off the Brentwood Old Hickory exit on Franklin Road, 615-377-0420 or online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. That's Brentwood Hearing Center. Better hearing, better life. RKW rolls on, talking some college football this morning. 615-737-1045. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Robert Walsh. In the transfer portal, take your pick on Tennessee wide receivers. Over the weekend, even more have entered. Ramon Foster, there has been a mass exodus for the Vols at that position. Chaz Nimrod and Caleb Webb were out before the game at Ohio State. Nathan Leacock throws his name in there. Now Squirrel White in the portal. And about 30 minutes before the transfer portal closed, in steps former 5-star Mike Matthews. Ramon Foster, how concerned are you on a scale of 1 to 10 about the losses Tennessee has had in the transfer portal?
I'll be honest with you, Will. I've thought about it all weekend, and it got heightened on Saturday because I'll pull back the curtains just a little bit in a second. But on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 10. I am. For an offense that's supposed to be very friendly to the wide receiver, for an offense that's supposed to get guys open and moving down the field. Remember, I'm not getting off the soapbox as it pertains to Coach Heupel and this offense evolving just a little bit more to a pro-style operation to where we're not using the sidelines the entire time. Like, these guys want to come and be developed. These guys want to be ready for the NFL. These guys, of course, want all their yards, but you don't want to walk into a combine conversation when they're sitting in that train station cart, okay, up in Indianapolis, and they got questions on if you know the route tree. Can you read defenses? So I'm at a 10 for that side of it too. And Will, specifically because it's a one-position spot that's just getting pillaged right now, that's just getting broken up to pieces in the wide receiver room. And I'll go even further right now. Hadn't talked to anybody specifically, but I've heard a lot of stuff, and I've just watched and just see people who are in the know have this conversation. I had somebody on the NFL level say to me that they think there's an issue with the actual wide receiver coach. Like, I think they're having a room issue, Will, is what I was asked about this past weekend. I was like, what? Like, well, if you look in the portal, it's only the wide receivers that are jumping in. I don't know what Coach Kelsey Pope needs to do. He's a younger guy. I feel like he should be relatable. I feel like the communication barriers that old coaches have, you know what I'm saying? Old coaches can't relate. Like, they shouldn't be having these types of problems. Like, no. And that's why, to me, it's a 10. Something's going on because that conversation, I feel like, is bubbling to where the volcano's about to explode, and somebody's got to get us answers on this. So I don't know if Hyper needs to let go of somebody or rearrange how they are coaching guys up or communicating with them. Right. But you can't have this many guys in one position leave your room like this, especially a Mike Matthews, right? He's a 5-star plus. I think we all look at 25 and say, it's his year. He's next up.
No, Mike Matthews was going into the 2025 season as wide receiver 1. So the latest on his recruitment, according to Brent Hubbs and VolQuest.com, our partners over there, is that Mike Matthews at the end of the portal window appeared to be set to return. With about an hour left, the rumblings at Knoxville were that Mike Matthews was going to come back to Tennessee. Right. So Mike Matthews has filled out paperwork to enter the portal, but will not be official until today. So essentially what happens is you can decide to withdraw the request and continue as a Vol, or his career at Tennessee could be done and that paperwork can be put in. So the way I understand it is when you fill out transfer portal paperwork, that school has 2 days to then put that paperwork in and put you in the portal. As I understand it, Tennessee is still, and Pete Nakos of On3 has reported this as well, Tennessee is still trying to talk Mike Matthews into coming back. There are talks of a new contract for Mike Matthews. And we live in a world of college football to where that is a thing. What also has been reported is that according to VolQuest, Nico Iamaleava visited with the Tennessee staff and Spire Sports Group, but never requested any transfer paperwork. I think the general feeling is maybe Mike Matthews put his name in the transfer portal because he thought Nico Iamaleava might be putting his name in the transfer portal. Because of a meeting that happened between Nico and Tennessee and the staff and Spire. Nico never requested transfer paperwork. Nico Iamaleava is Tennessee's quarterback, point blank, done.
And his father also came out and said he has no
y'all
time
need to
go.
calm down.
Yeah, calm the bleep down or something like that. He basically said he hasn't gone to Miami. Miami ain't talked to him.
No, and there was some misinformation out there about him taking visits to other schools.
So much so
that did not happen.
The original tweet got erased. I was just like, that's how you dead a situation right there.
So if Mike Matthews stays in the portal, Tennessee has lost 13 scholarship players. You lose on defense Jason Jenkins, who is coveted, good defensive lineman that a lot of big schools want.
Yep.
Christian Harrison, Jalen Smith. So those three guys combined for 63 tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss. Squirrel White, in 3 seasons, the Vol has 1,600 receiving yards. I don't think losing Squirrel White is a massive loss for Tennessee. Right now, going into next season, you basically got Chris Brazzell, Braylon Staley, and incoming freshman Travis Smith as your dudes. Here's what concerns me more, Ramon, about Tennessee's exodus. It's that I'm not really upset about any of these guys leaving other than one.
As Mike.
Like, that is the problem with Tennessee. Because these are a lot of depth guys that Tennessee has lost. Depth is important, obviously. It's the fact that Tennessee hasn't recruited well enough for me to really care about any of these guys leaving. That, to me, is the bigger systemic issue with Tennessee's roster right now, is that top to bottom, it's not good enough for me to feel like losing any of these guys, aside from Mike Matthews, is overly significant.
Yep. I agree with you there. It shows, and it showed in the Ohio State game, too.
It absolutely did.
It showed in Georgia also, right?
It absolutely
we
did.
spoke about, again, I'm going to go back to the last game, the Ohio State game. Looking at that game, their cornerbacks didn't seem too worried, either by the offense or by the player's threat, right? And I say that respectfully. These guys is about to go get drafted and stuff like that. But when you look at, to your point, the guys that have hopped in, Squirrel, from my understanding, they got a replacement for him. All right, you look at Chaz Nimrod, they got a replacement for him. And even Holden Staves, from my understanding and just looking at the recruiting boards, the young freshman tight end that's coming in from...
Well, there's two, Deshaun Brame and Jack Van Dorselaer.
Apparently, Brame is that guy.
And Miles Kitzelman's probably coming back, too, because of the Pavia rule with JUCO. So he probably gets another year anyway. So the Holden Staves one doesn't bother me at all.
Shout out to the Dago, who can't stop saying Vandy we lit. Yeah, I know the check hit. Okay,
yeah, right.
I know the check hit. But shout out to him, though, for that. He went and dominated. Messed up my freaking parlay, dude.
Yeah, he did.
From, my Thursday 3. I came back. Thursday 3.
Right.
But with that being said, I'm with you. Nothing overly worries me about that. This is, again, to my point, Will, there's levels to elite. I think we can say there's the difference between a millionaire and a 100 millionaire. We get it. There's the difference between a 100 millionaire and a billionaire. I think Tennessee is on the bottom end of teetering to be elite. And it shows right now by the guys who are leaving. My thing is this. If these are your role players that have the ability to make plays for you, how or why you can't keep them is an issue for me. And specifically to that same point is one position. The Jenkins kid, the defensive line.
Jason Jenkins.
Jenkins, yeah.
9 tackles, 2 sacks, a forced fumble this year.
And from my understanding, he's in a log jam. He wants to go somewhere and play and start. And to your point,
be the guy.
He will be the guy somewhere. Right. And I get that. Christian Harrison, I felt like we looked at that one as, okay, you loved his father and what he did and everything else.
Lost his job to Boo Carter.
Lost his job.
Yeah. Who might be an offensive player now for Tennessee.
I have a warning. You had a warning also for the fan base. So I've quickly, and probably quicker than almost any situation I've ever been in with doing this job, Vols fans and fans in general of other teams too, condition yourself though too. Legitimately condition yourself to the portal. Condition yourself to your favorite player, Boo Carter or Mike Matthews, threatening to jump in for a new contract. This is just how it goes because why? There are no regulations or rules. There's no baseline to how to do this job.
Because it's free agency every year.
As a fan of the Vols, the VFL, does it bother me? Yeah, I want the Vols to be good. I do. I want the Vols to be really good. I care more about them than almost any other sports team, okay? Probably the most. But I've conditioned myself already to say, you know what? These young cats at all positions want to play and want to bag.
Yep.
And they want the bag before they want to play, right? So you got to bend the knee. I get falling in love with players. I'm all for it. I want a Jamal Lewis to be a Vol. You know what I'm saying? In that era, you knew he was going to be there. That 3 running back tandem that they had, right? In Knoxville in the early 2000s, you don't get that no more. We're not in that era. So condition yourself to understand that there might be your favorite player or ex-player. Alabama lost Caleb Downs. There's no reason for him to leave, really.
Well, Nick Saban
retiring
was a pretty big reason.
But it's Bama.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So that's my only warning for anybody that's a fan of college sports right now.
I agree. Don't get too attached to a single player in college football. Austin Price said it to us over a month ago and said, every single year, everyone on your roster could possibly leave. Every single player. Doesn't matter what NIL deal they had coming into their career. Doesn't matter if they're an $8 million quarterback or a $100,000 inside linebacker.
Oh.
Every single player on your roster is possible to go somewhere else every single season. Here's where my issue is with the Tennessee fan base right now, Ramon. Tennessee has benefited from these rules more than as much as anyone else. Now is not the time to cry about the system being broken. This system has brought you Hendon Hooker. This system has brought you Dalton Connect. This system brought you Chaz Lanier. The system brought you Jermod McCoy. You just got to be better at the rules and at the system as everyone else. And unfortunately now, you no longer have the advantage with your NIL collective that you had when NIL first started. Other teams have gotten their houses in order. Florida has their crap together. LSU has its crap together. Auburn has its crap together. You are no longer alone at the top in NIL collectives who know what they are doing. And now you are seeing the consequences of that. That's all it is. Is the system broken? Yeah, 100%. But Tennessee has also benefited from that broken system in the transfer portal as much as anyone else. So now is not the time, if you're a Tennessee fan, to complain about, well, I just can't get into college sports anymore. This broken system, all these guys want money. Yeah, they always have. It's just playing out in public now. So take it in stride. Take a deep breath. If you want to up your Vol Club membership, do it and help them keep guys like Boo Carter and Mike Matthews, because you're playing the same game as everyone else. The system is not why Tennessee is losing players to the portal left and right. Look around. Everyone is. But who are you bringing in to replace those guys and keep your house in order despite the changes that have to be made every single season? That's my advice at this point.
Oh, doubt. And it even goes even further, Will. Sophia Nugent on the the softball team. Like Talasia Cooper. You've benefited from it big time. Like Kim Caldwell being undefeated, it's beneficial. It's benefited because of the NIL collective.
It's it's the new normal. It's not only a Tennessee problem.
No, it's not. And again, my biggest issue in all of this ain't the players hopping out. Like, I get there needs to be a culture place, and I think they got a good one still. For the most part, you kept it together. Like, guys leaving for the draft, all right, I'd much rather that be the case than you having that be strong-armed by somebody by saying, oh, I want to come back for another year, and you're going to have to pay me money because I know you need me. Mm-hmm. My issue is, of course, the offense and how they got to get that together defensively, to the adjustments that have to be made from the first half to the second half. And also, like I said, if this offense ain't going to be quick, if this offense ain't going to be, putting defenses on their back foot, on their back heel, then something has to happen. Like, either you need to relinquish the play calling duties to somebody else, or if it really is, what's the coach that went to UCF? Will Heupel's assistant coach,
Mackenzie Milton.
No, not Mackenzie Milton. The head coach, golly, his name is escaping me. The one that was a bad cop to his good
USF. Alex Golish.
Alex Golish. Find your next Alex Golish. If you are a great vibes guy, like I know myself. I need a villain with me. I do. Like, I get it. Like, because here's the thing. If I cross over to the other side and become like the bad guy, it's just real bad. And I got a feeling that's Heupel too. So you need a Ron Slay on your side. You know what I'm saying? You need a Renardo that's a quiet assassin around you. And I think that's what Heupel might need. I'm not sure if it's Glenn Ellaby, because he was in his wedding and he probably won't ever let him go.
Right.
But a hard decision's got to be made. Like, again, we speak about this thing on the NFL side like this is a business. The game is winning. There's only so many cupcakes, UT chats that you can put up.
And in order to take the next step to be an elite championship level program, you have to have a championship level coaching staff.
Yeah.
And against Ohio State, you win against one. So that's the question Josh Heupel has got to ask. Do I believe enough in my process and my guys to become championship level coaches? Or do I need to go find some with the war chest that I have from the University of Tennessee and the athletic department and the staff pool that I can pick with? Because Chip Kelly and Jim Knowles are about as good as it gets in terms of coordinators you're going to go up against. And until you can match that level of staff experience and talent and poise and knowledge, you're just going to be the best of the good teams. Tennessee needs to take that next step to be an elite team if they want to continue to talk about championship school. Like, they're a championship level in pretty much every sport but football
right now.
At this point.
We're saying this and they make the CFP, right? We're saying this and they make the CFP.
Right. So, but how do you take the next step to not only take part but take over the college football playoff?
And if you'd have told me they beat Florida, they beat Alabama, early played Georgia.
Good season.
Well, good season.
Good
season, right? But here's what I also say after the season that is done. And I'll give my answer, you give yours. I don't ever just want to put you in a box by yourself on this stuff. When it comes to Will in this offseason cycle of NIL and transfer portal, do you look at South Carolina and Florida with what they have and say they probably jumped you a little bit?
Yeah.
I do too.
LSU, Auburn.
I do too.
Texas A&M.
Yeah, I do too.
There are a lot of teams in the SEC. I mean, KC Concepcion just committed to A&M yesterday.
After being dragged from where? Didn't he commit?
NC State.
Yeah.
He was at NC State. I mean, Eric Singleton at Auburn.
Yep.
Like, the teams that you were competing with this year at the top for the playoff spots are adding. Ole Miss has got a king's ransom in the portal again because that's what they do, right? That is their model of success.
Auburn.
But now there are teams behind you that are also getting closer to your level. It is about to get more crowded at the top. Meanwhile, you're losing all your wide receivers. I think it's a big concern right now for Tennessee at wide receiver. They are going to have to be really aggressive in recruiting the transfer portal of teams that are still playing. Because, Ramon, now when all of these teams that are still left playing lose, those players and those rosters have 5 days to enter the transfer portal. Tennessee's got to hit on a lot of those dudes. You got to be ready to take some from Georgia, from Notre Dame, from Arizona State. All of these teams that are still left, you've got to go shopping and you've got to hit now on a lot of the guys that are left, especially at wide receiver.
And I'll even go as far, especially skill positions in the spring. All right, and here's the other side about it, too. I think the Kumbaya era that they had when Hyper first got there is fine. You're supposed to do that, right? To reshift this culture that Tennessee had. Like, the edginess that you have to have on a team to where – and I know it's a lot different these days because kids can just leave at the at the flick of a wrist, right? But there has to be a demand for performance at an all-time high, too. Like the drops and the lack of decision-making that guys have in moments. Like if you're supposed to be deep, middle third as a linebacker, get there. Don't let the tight end from Georgia score touchdowns right over your head. Like these are the types of things that have to happen moving forward, man. So the idea of like facilitating full competition, they got to get to that point, too, because I feel like the system's just been good enough right now.
Right. 615-737-1045. More of your thoughts on the Vols, the transfer portal, and college football from over the weekend. Ramon, there is a lot of discourse around one bowl game and a decision that was made in Miami, Iowa State that has a lot of people talking. We'll give you our thoughts on Cam Ward's halftime opt-out from over the weekend coming up next. RKW wrapping up hour number 3 on this Monday morning. 615-737-1045. Still to come in about a half hour. We're going to talk about the long-term and short-term problems that are facing the Tennessee Titans. Take a look at some NFL Week 17 headlines in 15 minutes as well, and more of your comments and thoughts in the F&M Bank chat this morning. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Ramon, before we get back to Vols calls, do you have an issue with Miami quarterback Cam Ward opting out of the Pop-Tart Bowl at halftime this weekend?
I told you in the last segment, I've quickly conditioned myself to understand that's just what it is. Old me 6 months ago, I'm like, shucks, you don't stop on your team. Man, this is the price of doing business these days with these young guys, man. Like, it's such a microwavable, like, quick, watch me do me type of society right now. And what I'm hoping for more than anything, Will, because we somewhat saw it a little bit this year, I hope that doesn't go up to the NFL. That's my only issue. And I think we saw a first little dose of it, man, with Anthony Richardson tapping to come out because he was tired, boss.
Subbing out in the middle of a drive because he was tired.
At the end of the game, too. Like, because you tired, boss. Like, no. Like, this job, and it's that now because you're getting paid for duty in college. It requires a lot, and you need to be built for it. So it's just they allowed it. He got the record. He bowed out. You know what I'm saying? Like, we saw another guy this past weekend. I thought I sent it to you guys. Aaron Rodgers. I think it's time for you guys.
Took himself out.
Yeah, he took himself out, too.
At 33-0, he said, probably time to put Tyrod in.
It's time to put Tyrod in.
It's kind of crazy, too, because he led him on 2 touchdown drives.
I know, right?
I know
Tyrod
it's the
Taylor
Bills'
immediately goes in, scores 2 touchdowns.
And that, so I ain't mad at it, Will, considering he's got bigger plans after college. No. And I'm probably in a minority on that one.
So Cam Ward had 3 touchdown passes in the first half, gives him 158 for his career, and a new NCAA Division I record that Case Keenum held since 2011. 158 touchdowns. Miami lost to Iowa State 42-41. The cinnamon Pop-Tart was the one eaten by the Iowa State Cyclones. Mario Cristobal post-game saying, I think all meetings with players and decisions like that, we make them in private. And we keep them in private. So I'll prefer not to answer questions as it relates to that. I know he played his best while he was in there. I kind of go back and forth on it. I'll be honest, I don't like it.
I don't think you're wrong with whatever you say.
I don't like it because any risk that you are willing to take in the first 30 minutes of a game is the same risk that you're going to be taking in the last 30 minutes of the game. The only thing that changed is what served you. And that was putting your name in a record book. So that's where I have an issue. At least be 10 toes down, whatever you're going to do. If you're out, be out. That's fine. Go get paid. You don't want to take a risk and get hurt in a bowl game. That's fine. But to me, if you are willing to take a risk in the first half of a bowl game, you should be willing to play for 30 more minutes. At the end of the day, you can't use that excuse when you went out there when it served you. So just because it no longer serves you to play, you're going to opt out? No, I think that's soft. I think it's weak. I think we should expect better from players who are making a lot of money. And I hope we get to the point where a lot of these NIL deals come with bowl game appearance fees. If you're getting paid $5 million to come play quarterback here, that is a 13-game contract.
No, seriously.
So I don't love it. I mean, I am with you, though. It is the world we live in college football, but that doesn't mean I have to like the world we live in.
I don't like it. No, absolutely not.
We can accept that this is the reality and the guy has the right to make a decision while also still being critical of the decision. I think it's okay to have both opinions at the same time.
And the coaches allowed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they also allowed it, too. So the coaches right now are so scared of just taking the kid off.
Yeah, they are.
They are. Like, I couldn't imagine doing that job. Like, it's like being uncomfortable in your own home. Like, you ain't ever supposed, as a coach, when it's your team, you ain't ever supposed to feel like you up against the wall as it pertains to how you do your job. Y'all hired me for a reason, but the fact that I don't know what the NIL promised him, I don't know how he feels. Yeah. Oh, and let me talk about his camps. What is his camps telling him? Or the fact that Lane Kiffin might be inboxing him right now.
Well, what I would love is if I'm a Miami fan and I paid to travel to watch Cam Ward play one more time, I feel kind of baited and switched. Because everyone forgets about the fans in this. We always talk about the player perspective, the NIL collectives, the teams, the NFL. What about the fans who paid to go watch Cam Ward play?
Yeah.
And then they get Cam Ward for a half, and it's like, oh, well, never mind. I don't know.
I kind of feel like it could be big brain dedication on his part because the winner of the Pop-Tarts Bowl had to eat a Pop-Tart. Maybe he's worried about his combine shape.
Great
Maybe
point.
he's worried about staying looking good for the underwear Olympics. Maybe he just didn't want to eat that Pop-Tart.
Yeah. From what I saw this past weekend, nobody ate the holiday ham whatsoever in those holiday games. I think Lamar passed on it.
Yeah, the football cake.
They're like, look, we made a cake for
Great
you
band
guys. They were like, I'm not going to eat it. They're like, not one bite. She's like, I think Derek said, I'll take a bite if you take a bite. And then she took a bite, and they were like, nah, I'm still not going to do it.
They did, man. So maybe that was it, Bert. But it will, to your point, man, the game that we grew up on of college football is being peeled apart at the seam.
Oh, yeah, it's gone. Yeah.
It is. And
it's different now.
We got warned about a year or so ago, this ain't it. This ain't the bottom. And I think we're seeing it right now. Boo Carter, watching him this past weekend.
Yep.
It almost felt as if an abuser of a sense. You know what I'm saying? We're all good. And then next thing you know, you got to pay to keep them. I've been in position, I told you guys before, where guys quit in camp. Man, I'm done. And we were begging guys, no, man, you got a shot. And Coach Tomlin came to us and said, don't live in your fears. We're going to be all right. If he's out, let him walk. And what sucks, though, Will, it's harder to say and live that life in college because when guys got talent, you need them a whole lot more.
100%. Tennessee needs Boo Carter.
They do.
100%.
They need Mike Matthews.
They do. And Boo Carter had a very public renegotiation with Tennessee where Pete Nakos of On3 was saying that he was thinking about entering the portal and wanted assurances of playing offense.
I heard numbers allegedly of what it could have been from where it is now to I don't know how much you got.
We're talking millions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 7 figures.
Just at the snap of a finger.
And I do think it sets a dangerous precedent that if you post a picture of yourself on your Instagram story with an emoji that's negative.
Or you take off all your pictures on Instagram.
And you publicly negotiate and you take down all your pictures of you in a Tennessee jersey, then, you can get more. You can come back.
The motto that we live by, I give my all for Tennessee and the bag. It should be next to it now.
I will give my all for Tennessee today and the bag.
And the bag.
And the money.
And again, I ain't mad at it.
No.
It's just that it's changed, y'all, and this is where the coaches like Nick Saban and others are just to die. They chose to die out of this
just
sport.
accept it.
Yeah.
It's part of it.
It is.
If you want to get out, that's fine. You can retire like a lot of the traditional coaches have. But if you're in it, be prepared to play the game and be prepared to have your favorite player maybe transfer every single season. If you're going to buy a college football jersey, buy a graduating seniors. Get Brew McCoy's. Get James Pierce's.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to buy a Tennessee jersey next year, I would not get anyone who is only, anyone who could leave you.
I wouldn't even get David Sanders right now.
No.
I wouldn't.
Every single player on your team could leave the next year for every program in America.
So it's hard for me, and this is where it's going to end up screwing them over real quick, Will. They get these NIL deals, and they also get these merchandising deals.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be harder for fans to buy a Chaz Nimrod, a Squirrel White shirt, jacket, hat, hoodie, lanyard. If I don't even know you're going to be here. All the folks that bought Squirrel White shirts.
That's true.
In his NIL deal.
Yep.
What can I do?
You're buying
with
that
this?
not just for one season. You're buying that for years.
You didn't win a natty for me to continue to wear this.
Yeah, right.
You weren't the best receiver in the country for me to continue to wear this
About
shirt.
500 yards this year. It was hurt a lot of the season. Yeah. Coming up, 615-737-1045. Going to have a big discussion on the both short-term and long-term concerns about the Tennessee Titans. That I think will be an interesting discussion coming up at 9:20. But when we come back, highlights from Week 17 of a very fun NFL weekend in Philly, in Minnesota, in, unfortunately, Cincinnati. Some entertaining things to dive into. We'll go rapid-fire NFL headlines next.
What's going on? 9:02. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Titans fall to the Jaguars in Jacksonville 20-13. Mason Rudolph finishing 19 of 31 for 193 yards and interception. His lone touchdown to Nick Vannett.
Rudolph looking, firing, man is wide open, Vannett! Touchdown, Titans! Guess who the Jacksonville Jaguars forgot about? 8-4, Nick Vannett, and the Titans get in the end zone.
Titans fall to 3-13 and currently hold on to the second overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, with the final home game of the year against the Texans looming this week in Nashville. Sunday Night Football, Commanders took down the Falcons 30-24 in overtime. Rookie quarterbacks going head-to-head. Jaden Daniels proving why he's the Rookie of the Year, finishing 24 of 36 for 227, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, while also adding 127 yards on the ground, breaking RG3's single-season rookie rushing record. Commanders also clinched a wild card berth with the win. Big step for a team that has not won a playoff game since 2005. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW rolls into the fourth and final hour on this Monday morning. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Robert Walsh makes the show happen. 615-737-1045. What is your biggest short-term concern about the Tennessee Titans? And then what's your biggest long-term concern beyond just 2025 and moving forward about this franchise? We're going to talk about that coming up in 15 minutes, and it feels like there are a lot of different ways you could take it. They lose to the Jags again yesterday, 20-13, a fifth consecutive defeat. They would have the number 2 pick in the draft as of today, and there's a lot to unpack. Ramon Foster about the local professional football team. However, there's a lot to unpack because NFL Week 17 was excellent. It was absolute cinema, as the kids would say, and I, by many, would be considered a kid. Eagles 41, Cowboys 7, Saquon Barkley 2,000 yards as they just destroy the Dallas Cowboys. Kenny Pickett only played most of the game.
Yeah, he did.
Got knocked out with an injury in this game. Ramon, would you, if you were Philadelphia, play Saquon Barkley in a pointless game against the Giants in order to break Eric Dickerson's single-season NFL rushing record?
That's what I was going to say. I can tell you who doesn't want him to play Eric Dickerson.
And the New York Giants.
Yeah, I know, right? He's not, he actually came out and said, no, I don't want him to break my record. Right. I just want to start there first. But
old dudes love their records, man. We've had Mark Gastineau try to get in a fight with Brett Favre this year, and now Eric Dickerson's like, hell no, I don't want him to break my record. He did it in one extra game, too, by the way.
I know. He can't wait to throw an asterisk on that record, man. Would I play Saquon? They locked up the number 1 seed, so if I'm not mistaken. The answer is no. I would.
The Eagles, no.
The Eagles ain't got the number 1 seed. Who got the number 1 seed? In
Lions.
the NFC?
Lions.
They still held on to it?
For now, yeah.
Okay. I thought Philly had
They just got the NFC East title.
Man, look, Saquon's part of the 2,000-yard league right now, and also he did it in 16 games. Saquon, I'll be honest with you, I think a lot of us will side-eye that record regardless if you went and got it or not. So we'll know. It's time to rest Saquon. But here's the thing, though, too. He's cooking. We just had the same conversation about Cam Ward. Like, the same injuries you're going to have in this game could be the same ones you have in the first round of the playoffs. So as it pertains to his decision as a player, Saquon probably wants to. As a coach, Nick Sirianni needs to probably pull him out, man.
Okay.
This is one of those decisions for me that it doesn't matter at this point. If you have no shot at getting number one seed, rest him. Maybe give him a quarter, Will, to see if he can go crazy. But besides that, man, get healthy for the playoffs.
And that was kind of my problem with it, too. 60 carries in the last 2 weeks for Saquon. And the game is out of hand. They did not have to give Saquon the ball anymore in that game, and yet they chose to feed him to get him within the 2K.
The 2K, he's a part of the club. You're a part of the 2K club in 16 games.
Right.
And that to me is probably the most important thing, because I even looked at the sack record with TJ and Myles Garrett now. Like, you did it in 17. Like, the metric does have to change, and you get credit for it because of the numbers. But it's until we are far removed from the 16-game schedule records, it's going to be side-eyed.
Well, and even Eric Dickerson's record is side-eyed, because that's not even the most yards per game in NFL history. That belongs to O.J. Simpson. Orenthal James Simpson.
Yeah, it does. And that was a 14-game season that O.J. did it in, if I'm not mistaken. So
I believe you're right.
It's always going to be that.
There's always going to be a little asterisk with it. So might as well not put an asterisk on your postseason by getting your best player hurt.
By the way, I looked up Eric Dickerson last night, too. So he ended up winning Offensive MVP that year. I think it was 84 that he got the 2,000 yards. You know, he had, I think 1,700 yards or 1,600 yards and didn't make Pro Bowl or All-Pro or anything like that the next year.
Crazy.
There was a log jam. I think it was Marcus
Allen.
Marcus Allen.
Yep.
Marcus Allen won the next year when running backs reigned supreme in the NFL.
Sure. Last night, Vikings and Packers was excellent. Vikings hold on despite a late charge from Green Bay in this one, 27-25. Sam Darnold is so good. When he has time to throw, 33 of 43, 377, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Thing is, it's not just Justin Jefferson.
No.
When you really watch Sam Darnold play, this is not just him throwing it to JJ and Justin Jefferson letting him get all his yards. Like Jalen Naylor, 5 catches, 81 and a touchdown. Jordan Addison, 6 catches for 69 and a touchdown. TJ Hawkinson, 5 catches for 68. He is spreading the ball around. He is extending plays with his legs. He's getting out of the pocket. He's dropping it in buckets. I think the narrative, Ramon, around Sam Darnold is still not giving him enough credit, because the narrative is, you just got Justin Jefferson. I don't think that's totally fair.
No. But I'll say this, though. He knows where his bread is buttered, though, too. I'll say this. He's operating it like a franchise quarterback right now. And
he absolutely is.
I'll throw this out there in that offense. Because here's the way the breakdown goes. Justin Jefferson, 11 targets. After him, Jalen Naylor, 5 for 5. You look at the way he's playing football right now, and he's having more good than bad, too. He still had an interception yesterday, but as it pertains to his overall play and how he's dragging, I always say, good quarterbacks win half the games by themselves, and then you drag everybody else with you. He's doing that. His 1 turnover, well, guess what? 3 touchdowns on the back end of that thing, too. So he's doing exactly what you need him to do and I'm going to say this, a system quarterback who's simply managing and taking what's in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
His biggest, I think, attribute and step that he's taken this year has been his ability to leave bad plays behind him.
Right.
When he was with the Jets, that chased him.
You would see ghosts.
You would see ghosts.
Literally.
And this is where, of course, throwing them out there so fast, they don't have the opportunity to watch somebody else deal with this type of stuff. Him going and playing with Baker Mayfield on the same team, these opportunities are only given to guys that find their talent eventually. And that's where he is right now. The best thing about his game is bad doesn't travel with him long.
Right. Bengals 30, Broncos 24. Incredible game.
Yes, it was.
Saturday night in Cincinnati. That performance by Joe Burrow, his 8th straight game with 3+ passing touchdowns, tied for the second longest streak in NFL history. Tom Brady had 10 straight in 2007. So now the Broncos will play a Chiefs team that is locked in the 1 seed. Joe Burrow was amazing in this game. He got sacked 7 times. He was hit 15 times. Cade York missed a chip shot field goal in overtime that would have won him the game. Yet it still didn't matter. 39 of 49, 412 yards, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. Pat Surtain took away Jamar Chase in the red zone.
Oh, my gosh.
So they said, all right, Riley Moss is covering T. Higgins. Let's just keep throwing it to T. Higgins. And that's how they won the game.
That's what I was wondering when he was getting them.
If you had T. Higgins in your fantasy football championship this weekend, congratulations on winning your fantasy football championship.
And every single one of those passes to him was legit, and he made comeback catches. He absolutely undressed the secondary and throughout the course of that game. And here's the thing about it. They tried it with Jamar. Absolutely. Jamar got all the targets up front. He had some very uncharacteristic drops earlier in that game. He had a touchdown secured, couldn't bring it in. Had one on the sideline and could not bring it in. Like, Surtain was all over him that game. Like, that's his Revis Island now. Legitimately. He is one of those types. But here's the other part, too, behind what Joe Burrow did. And, yeah, it went into overtime, so the numbers are a little bit higher. But Mike Gesicki had 12 targets for 10 catches. And would have had over 100 too, had it not been for his illegal formation. He was moving, he didn't get set. And he would have had over 100 because he had, I think, a 30-yard touchdown at that point right there. He's making Gesicki look good. Jamar Chase, that gremlin is just who he is.
A gremlin.
Okay, and T. Higgins, he's Mr. Say His Name now.
Still a dude.
He's still a dude on top of. I just kept laughing watching that game, though, the Cincy Broncos game, for this reason right here. One, on my Thursday 3, that got me the over. Okay? I won the over in that game. When it was 10-7 at one point in time in the second half.
Yeah, right.
Nuts, man. But I looked at that game and I said, look at the Broncos out here doing what they're supposed to do against a bad defense. And I thought back to the week before, 2 weeks before, where the Titans had this same defense and couldn't stuff them, couldn't close them out, and made their safeties, their defensive line look like world beaters.
Right.
And you got a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix that just had their way.
Who has clearly been drafted into a good spot with Sean Payton. Like, if you put Bo Nix on 2/3 of teams in the NFL this year, I don't think he's having nearly the success that he's having.
No.
But he got paired up with an experienced quarterback developer head coach in Sean Payton, who's done this before successfully.
To that same point that you're saying right there, this is why you retain Callahan and believe in the idea that he can do this.
I don't think you can compare Brian Callahan to Sean Payton.
No, he's proven he's got the ring.
Right.
But what I'm saying is this: if a coach, and I feel like Sean Payton was adamant about Russ last year, it wasn't going to be his guy.
No,
nothing Russ can do.
They let Sean Payton go get his guy. He did, and look at where the Broncos are.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. It's a little bit apples and oranges, but I see what you're getting at, that you believe in your quarterback developing head coach to go get his dude and then look more like a quarterback head coach with his guy.
It really is splitting hairs because it could have really crapped the bed, too. Bo. And Bo Nix was labeled as, too old also coming out of college?
He was. Yep.
Now, how does that decision look for him?
Pretty good. Pretty good player. Interesting.
Tough situation to be in. But, of course, Callahan's got to give us a lot as it pertains to what his next year is going to be. And I know we're about to discuss that. So,
what is your biggest concern about the Titans franchise, both short-term and long-term? Moving ahead to 2025, what worries you, both now and for the foreseeable future? That's next. RKW 104.5, The Zone rolls on. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Robert Walsh, our producer. Going to talk a lot of Titans here over these next couple minutes. But I do want to sprinkle in a little bit of a Vols nugget.
Oh,
if you would allow me to.
Got a little nugget. Can I have sauce with this one, please?
Yeah, you may.
I actually like, depending on where we're going. If we're going to McDonald's and I'm getting nuggets from there, can I get hot mustard?
I love the way you say McDonald's. It's the countryest thing about you.
It is. Or if we're going to Chick-fil-A, I'll take honey mustard. Big mustard guy over here. Mustard!
Yeah, that's getting good.
I was quiet specifically so you could save that for an open later.
Appreciate that.
I hate y'all.
I'm not good at much, but occasionally I know when to shut up. That's probably going to get cut now, too. Pete Nakos of On3 writing updates in the transfer portal says transfer portal intel. Tennessee still does not have Mike Matthews in the transfer portal. Pete Nakos of On3 writes, Mike Matthews, of course, announced his plans to enter the portal late Saturday night. Sources told On3 Sunday afternoon that negotiations are still ongoing on a new NIL contract that would see him return to Knoxville. As of this morning, Mike Matthews has yet to officially enter the portal. Pete Nakos of On3 says, speaking to a source again, there remains some confidence of a return, but nothing has been finalized. Ramon, I'm going to give you a second nugget out of the portal. So you're going to need all that sauce for the second nugget.
10 plus 1?
USC wide receiver Zachariah Branch, according to On3. Sources tell On3 Tennessee is going all in to land a visit with the now former USC wide receiver Zachariah Branch in using a recruiting pitch involving receiver Brew McCoy. Nico Iamaleava's dad is also making a push, sources told On3. Zachariah Branch and his brother Zion have previously visited Arizona State and Georgia. So, Tennessee trying to get Mike Matthews back and trying to land the top receiver left of the portal in USC receiver Zachariah Branch, who is a stud.
It's smart because here's the thing about it. Looking at what, again, they're a model right now because they're the ones that beat us down like crap. Ohio State. Look at the three-headed monster that they had at wide receiver. Like, it's one thing to, like, all right, I'm number one. I'm big dog. But, like, you do need a couple friends around you to help make you better, too.
Sure.
Like, that's the model. Well, so they should be going after him. And what's crazy, you said there's a deal in place to get him on campus. So you mean to tell me they're going to have to pay to get him on campus, too? I know that happens in recruiting.
No, not necessarily. They don't need to pay to, like, get him to visit.
Right.
But they would like to pay for him to play for them.
But I've heard that happening before.
Oh, I'm sure it has. Yeah.
Not that Tennessee's done it, but I've heard that before.
Sure. Anyway, the report over the weekend from Ian Rappaport is that Brian Callahan is expected to be back as the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Ian Rappaport essentially saying you could see some staff changes, but Brian is likely not going one and done. Ramon Foster, as you sit here on December the 30th, on a Monday morning after a fifth straight defeat and a 3-13 season pending a Sunday game against the Houston Texans. In the short term, what is your biggest concern right now about the Tennessee Titans?
My biggest concern about the Tennessee Titans has to be, will a impulse decision reset you further than where you are right now? And that does go up top. It does, Will. I know you said Rappaport said, all right, well, yeah, he's safe. But what about the others? Like, I'm a believer in, like, the methods that they're operating in. It's early. It's just like expecting my 6-year-old to be a great driver right now. Like, I'm still pressing the brake on the passenger side of the car when I'm riding with him.
Sure.
I think that, to me, it just shows the whole collaboration side of everything, the whole we're in to win it. This is the best. This is the home run hires and all those types of things. Like, it'll be hard to believe anything you say moving forward.
Yep.
So a very, like, an impulse decision on tanking it or dropping the ball again because you feel a certain type of way. And I'm only saying that because that's all I've ever heard is the emotions of making decisions, like, really are heavy in that building as far as ownership goes. That's my biggest concern going into this offseason.
I think for me, short term, it's the lack of elite players. I think in the AFC South, the Titans have the least amount of elite players and playmakers of anyone. You have one elite player in Jeffrey Simmons. I don't think you have any other elite players today on this team. Do you have guys that can become that? Sure. I think J.C. Latham has shown you enough flashes to encourage you that he could be a really good tackle. He's just not right now. Right. I think Jarvis Brownlee has potential to be a good corner. He's just not right now. L'Jarius Sneed didn't play enough this year to suggest that he is still an elite player at this point. If he'd been healthy for 17 games, yeah, L'Jarius Sneed on paper is an elite player.
Yeah.
But until I see it from him coming off of a really weird injury this year, it's just Jeffrey Simmons. So that makes your quarterback decision that much more difficult. And that is where I think this team is going to have to take the biggest can't-miss option in the draft this year. Because ideally, if you're picking second, you should be taking a quarterback if you need one. And the Titans absolutely need one. But can they afford to risk ruining a young quarterback because the situation they'd be bringing that quarterback into is so bad? You don't want to bring a young QB that's moldable into a situation where you got Calvin Ridley and then what on offense? And you got a offensive line. Like, you can break a quarterback by bringing them into a losing culture.
Yeah, you can.
So that's a big risk this team is going to have to take. In short term, I think it's a major concern because I don't think there's a clear-cut right answer between take a risk on Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, who have a lot of green flags, but also a lot of red flags as well, or trying to get an elite playmaker and understand that it might be a less-than quarterback throwing them the ball or playing on offense while they play on defense.
Or find yourself in the same scenario you were this past year in 24, right? Having a conversation, we'll fix it in free agency.
Right.
And then you can't control injuries.
Right.
You can't control a disgruntled Jamal Adams, right? You can't, at that point, you cut bait. I saw a lot of folks having a conversation, too. We talked about it in a little bit of a chat about Elijah Molden, the decision on him.
Yeah.
From my understanding, Elijah simply didn't want to be here either. You know what I'm saying? So what do you do in a situation like that? You move on. You got to cut bait. So you run all of those risks. I would have bet against the idea that he'd have played a full 17 this year.
Right. He never had before.
We can fuss and cuss on the decisions that are made, but I do think the intent on what they're trying to put together made sense. In the short term.
And I think sometimes change of scenery is a critical part in the process of someone getting better.
Yeah.
When you go from this organization to the Chargers, and just the reset button you are able to hit in your personal, professional career, you've got a little bit extra spring in your step when your feet hit the floor to go to work.
Right.
Than you probably do here. I think Elijah Molden would probably be more willing to go the extra mile for a new organization where he feels like he has a fresh start. Elijah Molden is not the player he is here if he was here.
And also, he's a West Coast kid. I hate to even throw that in there like that, but he's from Oregon.
Those things matter.
Played at Washington, and he's back on the West Coast. Right. I had one of my old teammates, too, James Conner, running back from Pitt, right?
Yeah.
Played in the cold all the time.
Warm weather guy.
You know what? He acknowledged it. I saw him in the offseason. I was like, man, you look good. You're healthy. He's like, I'll be honest with you. He's like, being in Arizona, the weather, this is my element. I'm better here.
I think people assume those opinions don't happen because these are professional football players, but you guys are still human beings.
Yeah. And for how his body is, he would get, dinged up and nicked up from time to time. And he acknowledged that, in a conversation I had with him. So it does matter, Will. And it's the same thing that's going on with Elijah Molden. I do think the attempts were made. Lloyd Cushenberry, top 5 offensive line signing this offseason.
You got unlucky on that one.
Yeah, and you're unlucky. So in the short term, Will, it is. If they do go, all right, they get beat, all right, you get the number 2 overall pick, maybe 1 if the Patriots go out and play well.
Maybe.
How quick are you to make a decision? There was another article that came out by somebody today about saying this is Miss Amy's opportunity to fire both Chad Brinker and also Rand Carthon.
Yeah, Gentry Estes in the Tennessean is advocating, wrote in the Tennessean this morning, Amy Adams-Strunk should fire both Rand and Chad Brinker.
Yeah, absolutely said that. And that's where it gets real sticky. Is that really the method? Because I'll say this because I had to follow and play this team for so long. And I know Bert can speak on it too. You can too, Will, heck, for that matter. But this seems very Cleveland Brownish.
Yeah.
All right.
It does.
You're almost at a point to where the jerseys with the quarterback names, we close to putting tape on the back.
Yeah.
All right, you know what I'm saying? Or right tackle, we definitely could have did it this year. Right? You got multiple positions on this team where you can start putting Scotch tape on the back and writing names on the list of people you've gone through.
Yep.
And you don't want to be labeled as that.
Right.
The stability of good franchising. Say what you want. Green Bay, Baltimore, man, I hate to say that.
Pittsburgh.
Kansas
City.
Did Kansas City get lucky, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone with that good of a quarterback had to have a little bit of luck involved with it.
And Andy Reid.
And Kansas City was a loser franchise for a long time.
Used to laugh at that game.
Long time.
We used to laugh at the Kansas City game.
And, I mean, so was Buffalo.
Until Patrick showed
Loser
up.
franchise for a long time. New Orleans, before Drew Brees got there, was the doormat of the National Football League.
Laugh at it.
Yeah.
Absolutely
They
laugh
had Archie
at
Manning.
it.
They had a lot of paper bags over heads.
Dude, Buffalo might be able to beat you. Maybe. More than likely not. That was our motto behind it.
right.
As players, like, oh, man, we're going to Buffalo. Well, I hope it ain't too cold. That's the only worry you had.
Right.
Like, it wasn't about the team. So that instability will create a culture that you might be that moving forward if you continue to make these impulse decisions.
My issue still with getting rid of Rand and Brinker is I just don't think they've had a long enough time to really implement the kind of team and the kind of culture they want this organization to be. And they had to shift gears to now give Brian Callahan the kinds of players he wants, which is a different blueprint to what Mike Vrabel would have wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that we thought this team could be good coming into the season, and I remember saying the exact words. They have a really thin margin for error, but if things bounce their way, they could be frisky. They could be frisky this season. That was the word we used in training camp. This team could be frisky and fun if Will Levis steps up to the plate and their important free agent acquisitions don't get hurt. Well, what happened? Neither of those things. Will Levis did not step up to the plate, did not rise to the occasion, and a lot of their big free agent acquisitions who couldn't get hurt did.
No, they stepped up. You know what happened?
For the other team.
Swing and a miss.
Yeah. It's the Family Guy strike three, and he knew it. Griffin will almost certainly be sitting down to AAA Pawtucket. Strike three, and he knew it. Griffin will almost certainly be sitting down to AA Bristol. Strike three, and he. All right.
Hey,
if you've seen Family Guy, you get it.
Speaking of which, of baseball, I got to go there real quick. This is a funny story. My son actually got it on tape. I hope he don't release it. But this past weekend, I'm soft tossing to my kid underhand soft tossing behind the net. And he ended up, we do sets of 5, okay? My oldest, RJ, we do sets of 5. All right. And on the 5th one, he got it, but he didn't get it the way he wants to. He was like, give me another one. I was like, no. You missed it. You're not getting another. You get it on the next set. So I'm in that mode a little bit, okay? You know what he did on the first pitch the next time? Right back at the net. I jumped and cussed, and I was just like,
nice.
What are you doing? Like, I'm behind this net. I'm your father still. He didn't care about any of that, Will. Absolutely didn't care about any of that. Dads that sit behind baseball nets to throw soft toss to your kids, y'all deserve a pat on the back, okay?
Fair enough.
I just want to start
it's a contact sport.
On a swing and a miss.
All right, so those are our short-term concerns, and there are plenty of them. What do you do a quarterback? Are you willing to trade back in the first round and take the risk of not getting an elite playmaker? All these kind of things. Long-term, Ramon Foster.
Long-term? How long until you start getting those X-players? How long? How many cycles do you have to go through to set a culture of players that's going to make you competitive to where the quarterback won't matter as much? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I am. Like, Jalen Hurts got carried a little bit. He had some specialty in what he was doing with Philly, but how long can you build up a team that looks on paper like how Philly does, like how Buffalo does, like how Kansas City? Because that's the ultimate goal, is to have a team that stands on its own to where at some point, hey, you lost James Harrison as a team. TJ Watt's right here waiting on you, right? You lost Bud Dupree. Alex Highsmith was waiting right here on you. All right, who's behind Jeff? You can say Devondre. No, that's two totally different positions.
Yeah, 2 different positions, right?
Who's behind Jeff that you can say, well, just get me another one? Nobody. How long do you have to wait to get to that point? Well, that's my long-term just worry for this franchise till you get to that point. Because Tariq left.
Right.
And I know Patrick's special. But they went on to win a Super Bowl without Tariq. When will they be able to stand on his own merit with talent?
I'll do you one better of a team we talked about today. Stephon Diggs left Minnesota.
Oh, my.
And they got Justin Jefferson. And then Stephon Diggs left Buffalo, and they got Keon Coleman, and Keon Coleman's not a 1-for-1. He's not Justin Jefferson, but he's part of the committee that has filled the production of the dude.
And the guy got better. Josh Allen got better.
Right. It's fair. I think my concern is Amy.
Okay.
I'm concerned about Amy Adams-Strunk's ability to pull the Titans out of this mess.
Yeah.
Because I just think she's been a little too close to it. When she fired John Robinson and even Mike Vrabel, we had proof of concept of Amy Adams-Strunk making big decisions and them working. When she got rid of Mike Mularkey in favor of Mike Vrabel, it worked.
Right.
Her pick of John Robinson was a good one at the time.
A little bit.
So we had the benefit of the doubt we could give Amy to say, all right, you're making a big call a lot of other owners wouldn't make, but you've done it before and it worked. So we're going to let you have this one. She has now lost that benefit of the doubt because her plan since getting rid of John Robinson and even really Mike Vrabel has resulted in the Titans being in position to take the number 2 overall pick. I'm worried that a loss to Houston could be enough for her to just hit the red button and blow it all up again. And I think you're really becoming Cleveland if you do that again. I just worry about her being too close to it and too involved in not letting the football people make the football decisions. Because this organization has Amy Adams-Strunk's fingerprints all over it right now. And look where it's gotten us. 3-13 with 1 game to go. Is Amy Adams-Strunk willing to put football people in place to make football decisions? I don't have the answer to that. And I'm concerned that the answer is no. I'm concerned that she won't be able to get out of the way.
It's one thing to give them, the keys to the car. It's another thing to just sit back and watch it, too.
And I get it. Mike Vrabel was 6-18 in his last 24 games. I'm not advocating for bringing back Mike Vrabel. But I am advocating for having a better plan that gets you better than 3-13 after you do fire Mike Vrabel. Both things can be true. It was probably the right decision to go ahead and move on when you did, but everything that's followed it does not give you much confidence in the plan that they have in place. So I'm just worried that they're just going to reset this again and totally blow it up again. And if they do, again, I said it last week, you can sell me on bringing in a GM who gets to run his own search, a general manager that you bring in to hire a head coach and to put a team together. I can get on board with that. But do we really think that Amy Adams-Strunk would hire a GM to come in and do things his way or her way?
I thought this was it. I did. I thought the reshaping of the three-headed monster, the GMs, right?
Collaboration.
Giving Chad Brinker a different role. Mm-hmm. You're in charge of this, and give Rand this, and give Anthony Robinson this, and everybody has their own department and where they're working out of. I thought, and see, that's the difference for me, though, Wills. I feel like we're attempting that now, but that's why I come down to the time and do front office, the ownership, the think tank, right? Do they have the stomach to watch it?
Right.
Because if we're talking about a franchise doing it, I mean, Detroit had to watch it.
Yeah, but
I know.
It's a hard comparison because they showed you more flashes even when they were bad.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They won 2 of their last 4 games when they went 3-13 and won.
Yeah. And of course, nobody has the King ransom that they had.
Oh.
Also.
Yeah.
So the only model that's close to what you're going through right now, minus the contract, is Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
If we're being honest.
But even Cleveland, they've, yeah. No, you're right. Honestly, it's Cleveland.
I'm trying to make sense of it all, too, because when you speak about, ownership, owners can do what they want to. We watched Jerry Jones.
It's her team.
Get dogged out this
no one's disputing that. It's her team.
And Jerry, even, I got to give it to him for a dude that's very prideful about his Cowboys. He laughed about what their Philly fan base had to say to him, but he don't like that. Does she have the stomach to be able to deal with that publicly, too?
Yep. She started this process by firing John Robinson when she did and firing Mike Vrabel, a coach that is going to be the apple of a lot of teams' eyes this offseason.
Yeah, buddy.
Are you patient enough to stomach this and see the process through? Do you believe enough in what you are seeing behind the scenes, Amy Adams-Strunk, to see this process through? I think you should. I think it's too early to hit the reset button, but we're going to see. We're going to see what she decides, if we ever hear from her. Or maybe we still won't. I don't know. 615-737-1045, your chance to get in on the discussion. What concerns you the most about the Titans today as of December 30th? That's next. Wrapping up the show at RKW 104.5 The Zone. Been a fun reaction Monday, hanging out with you. Always is.
Has been.
Sad Boy Radio is next. You will not get any of that from 6 to 10. This is Happy Boy Radio.
Happy
boys today.
Happy boys.
The T-Pain's going to come for some royalty. Happy Boy Radio.
No, straight up. Straight up, Bert. You always come in with the quick little tidbits right there.
My dad always said I'm a master of useless knowledge.
You know what? I was always
It's a good way to be.
Told by somebody, you got to know a little bit of everything. Don't be a know-it-all, but just be able to hold a conversation. You do that well, Bert.
Peyton tells me that sometimes. My fiance, Peyton, it's fun to say still.
Look at my dog.
Says that a lot of times. She'll just be like, I just want to your little brain. Like, it just has so much up there. I feel like, yeah, it does.
That's cute now that she call you little brain. Well, she become a wife and call
the way
you
she says it is really sweet. She's like, in your little brain, there's just so much information up there. And she just goes, I don't know where you put it.
I can't wait for your first hey woman argument. Hey woman.
Whoa, no. Don't put that evil on me.
I'm just trying to start some
My
stuff.
sweet fiance.
That's so cute.
That's cute. Anyway.
Okay, I tell anybody, hey, the first year and a half, probably two, is like the kickoff of the Super Bowl. It's like the Super Bowl. All the cameras flashing. Wait till that first turnover. Then that's when it becomes.
Bert, why is Bert nodding over there? Cheyenne doesn't have a ring yet. Don't nod and say, "Oh, I get it."
No, we've been playing house for too long. I don't know if I've told this story before, but like we never even officially dated until she moved in with me. Like the success of our relationship probably started out with less than 1%. Because we was always just shacking up, man. Then she got a job in Florida. She was going to be working on a yacht club, and I was like, don't you want to pay like half my mortgage? Don't you want to move in with me? And she did. And she was a soldier.
It's
pay half that mortgage, baby. I need you. I need you so bad.
It is always funny when I talk about Peyton on this show because I'll either tell her like, "Oh, you got a shout out today," or like, she usually is just listening when she's in her normal routine.
Yeah.
So if she or if she doesn't hears it and hears about it, she'll go back and listen to the podcast. So I feel like I'm talking to future Peyton right now, bringing her up. It's like, "Hello, future Peyton. Love you. You're the best." Anyway.
No doubt.
There you
I don't
go.
tell Cheyenne nothing. Do not listen to this show, baby. It will only be detrimental to our relationship.
I do feel the need to give Robert Walsh a moment.
Yeah.
Because Dave Doran said NC State ECU isn't a rivalry. And he's right. ECU just keeps winning every time.
You took the words right out of my mouth, man. And see, the refs wanted that game to be close for them. That game, like at the end of that game, the Pirates were dog walking.
They got absolutely hosed with the way that fumble that should have been a fumble got returned for a touchdown. Also.
But it didn't matter. Pirates, but you know that we used to say like we've never lost a tailgate because like we weren't that good for a while. But now they ain't much that we can't win. We had an interim coach, and Dave Doran couldn't get it over with. Mm-hmm. Come on, man. Why are we losing recruits to that slack school down the road, man? Come on back. Come on back to play for the Pirates, baby.
So much.
Look at them talking trash. Hey, you do what you want when you win.
You can't spell parties without pirates, baby. Come on now. Well, you might be able to. I just thought of that off the top of my head. You might be able to.
Put that on a T-shirt.
Right?
Can't spell parties without pirates.
I'm here for it, Bert. By the way, Florida State players are suing their old basketball coach too, by the way.
Crazy. Sure. Leonard Hamilton, man.
Why not?
Who was I thought of Leonard Hamilton as a beacon of being good coaching in the ACC at Florida State. And now it's like I have to go. Was it Ross Dellinger who put that on?
With kids these days now,
Ross.
I'm so old.
I got to go back and read it.
With kids these days now, he may still be.
Hey, 6 former players are suing him for over $1.5 million in missed NIL payments. He promised.
Well, players are noticing that they are undefeated in court cases against the NCAA and the establishment to get paid. So might as well try. I don't know any details about it. That's just my,
by the way,
very uneducated opinion.
You're trying to fire a coach too, by the way. Pelissero just put out Jets to schedule to interview Ron Rivera. He's
Riverboat
back in
Ron.
it. Riverboat
Ron in Jersey. Apparently Rex Ryan might get a job interview.
Yeah, seriously. Might as well take back Sam Darnold.
Hey, he got his foot in the door somehow, didn't he?
You know how to tiptoe the line.
I mean, he knows what it's like to walk in the shoes as the New York Jets head coach.
He's walked a mile in those shoes.
That he's walked a lot of miles in those shoes.
And then sniffed them. My biggest thing with him is he's going to have to really toe the line with this team if he's going to be a respectable head coach again.
That is the show, and that is Happy Boys Radio.
That's our Achilles heel. That's my fault.
Trouble is afoot with this radio program. He does live here. He might be listening.
Yeah, he's got a soul, guys. Come on, man. We can't be talking about him like this.
The Buck Reising Show is coming up next.
You gonna mess around, put your foot in your mouth.
Reaction Monday continues after this. If you don't understand the jokes, just Google it. Oh, man. Ramon, please put the show out of its, not misery, but just end the show, please.
Plan appropriately for the next couple of days. People, set your Ubers, your drivers for New Year's, okay? New Year's Eve. But you got to remember, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.
Oh, I got another one. Trouble might be afoot.